In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep that 90% filled with a feeling of powerlessness and incompetence. If this 10% is to continue to consume more than 60% of the world's resources, if this 10% is to continue to rob African, Asian, and other nations of their material wealth, then it must keep those people in a state of maladjustment. And this implies then that no matter how much integration you may bring about, the feeling of inferiority must be a constant in the Black personality. No matter how many people you run for president, no matter how many mayors you get elected, no matter how many people you get on the board of IBM and the others, the basic sense of inferiority, the basic sense of dependency must remain a constant in the Black mind. And I will indicate this, and I think this study, which occurred now some 40 years later, shows this to be the case. Dr. Clark shows surprise that after all of this time, this feeling is still there. You have to pay scientists to do research. People just don't do research for nothing. If you run the latest physics experiment, you would have to produce a cyclotron with a circumference of some 20 or 30 miles around that costs billions of dollars. And if you're then talking about catching up with the European scientifically, then you must catch up with the European and surpass him, what? Economically. If your children are to work for you and give their scientific genius to the advancement of Black people, then we as Black people must give them an economic, social, and political foundation in which their gifts can be realized and handed over to us as a people. And therefore, merely to teach chemistry and physics as some neutral subject, as some body of knowledge unrelated to everything else going on into the world, is to be miseducated. That is one of the reasons why we have a country filled as Black people with chemists, with engineers, machinists, and yet we don't seem to be able to export one gun to South Africa. We don't seem to be able to make one bomb. We have generals and sergeants and Green Berets and Rangers and all of the rest, and yet we are unable to train one guerrilla or anything else to fight for their liberation in this world because there's a lack of social organization. It is not enough just to have knowledge. It is not enough just to have money. Money and knowledge must be organized in order to be effective. And knowledge, in order to flourish and be actualized in some concrete advancement for people, must be based ultimately on social relations between those people. So there must be a social structure. And while your children are learning science and mathematics, they must learn to love themselves and to love one another and to cooperate one with the other. Or else they'll have an Afrocentric mind, but they will still have to go down to IBM and Xerox and do their work. And ultimately then, they will still be racked by a sense of inferiority and dependency. So we must keep that in mind. Let me quickly state here then that the sense of inferiority in Black people and the other problems we talk about will not be removed by assimilation. They will not be removed by integration. They will not be removed by Jesse Jackson being elected president of the United States. They will not be removed by the election of other black politicians. And that doesn't say that Jesse Jackson shouldn't be elected, and it doesn't say that other politicians should not be elected. I'm saying, though, we cannot look at those things as being the sole basis for removing and solving the kinds of problems that we have. Because maladjustment is not merely a malady of the individual personality. Maladjustment is functional for a system. That system sometimes can be a family. Do you know sometimes a family is held together by a sick person? It is a scapegoat, a quote unquote black sheep around which the family defines itself. Sometimes a husband and wife keep a relationship because one of them is sick. And when one goes to the psychiatrist somewhere and try to get better, decide that they're going to change their life, the relationship breaks up. And often families will subtly pull a member back into alcoholism and other kinds of problems as a way of maintaining itself, even though it may be claiming aloud that it's really concerned with getting the person well. Because often the sickness of one individual works to the advantage of another one. And I will say then, when you...
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. What's going on, my brother Black Megas? What's going on, highly favored? I appreciate y'all coming through. This one is I don't plan on being on this one too long. I just wanted to come on to say a couple of things. Of course, I gotta how I do it. I'll probably show y'all. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Stay together for reasons that they probably shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And I came on here because, like earlier today, I was just like, I was listening to something, and then although I already know it just kind of hit me again, right? How everybody in the world, right, is outworking us. They are doing everything that they can't have to do, and they are literally outworking us. And for a second, I'm like, yo, if it was the pop, would we be able to win? We may even lose, but that's not true. It's either win or nothing. You know what I'm saying? But just some of the stuff, and then my brother MG2 came on earlier talking about value, which kind of goes into what I was saying, because like I said, I was listening to some earlier, right, where these I'm saying, white boys, now don't get me wrong, they still talk about crazy stuff. I know we like to be like, we the only ones that do this and do that. That is not true, right? It's just everybody else know how to make it work for them. They capitalize off of whatever situation that they're in or whatever it may be, right? They work harder than that. They monetize whatever they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all of, but let's be real, right? Other groups outwork us all day, every day, right? And I'm talking to me too, because this includes me, right? Like I would go out walking and stuff like that, or when I'm walking my dog, I might only see like white boys running and jogging and stuff and like trying to get in shape and all of that, and I don't see other brothers doing that. Even when I live around here, like a lot of the younger people, what I'm saying, don't get me wrong, they're cool, but a lot of times they just be out there, what I'm saying, chilling, smoking, what I'm saying, doing what young people do, what I'm saying? Because like I said, I live right off a HBCU campus, and I see that the mindset and all of that stuff, like, I'm not saying nothing negative about them. I'm just saying, like, our work ethic is just not there. That's why we keep losing over and over and over. You feel me? And like, what can I say when we being outworked and all of that? You know what I'm saying? So like I said, even when we use these platforms and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Other people are profiting off of everything that we do, everything that our whole lives, everything, you know what I'm saying? Even when we talking about a black business, you know what I'm saying? We don't do what it is that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to come on here and to kind of show y'all something real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, about less than 20% of people. I mean, I think that's pretty high. You know what I'm saying? Because I might see a brother every now and then, but mostly you see like the Euros out there, you know what I'm saying, walking, running, jogging. Like I said, I seen a white boy running up the street, you know what I'm saying? Like he do it every day, right? And when we say like we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, like are we prepared if it was to go down, right? We not even arming ourselves the way that we should be. Are we prepared to, you know what I'm saying? Could you last, like how long could you last? How long could your stamina last if you was to ever get into a fight, if that was to happen, right? Let's say that Montgomery thing. Do we have the stamina to do that? I don't think that we're working hard enough to be able to do that, you know, and we lose a lot of our stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, I don't see a lot of black people out there doing it. Not to say that none do, but I just don't. The most of the people that I've seen now, in my percentage where I'm at, I've seen probably like 5%. And I live in a mostly black area. I live in a black area in a mostly black town where black people are the largest group, you know what I'm saying? And I just don't see us out there working like we supposed to. And even when it comes to these platforms, because like I said, I was listening to some earlier, right? And they was talking about how even when it comes to making events, they was like, "Yo, we'll, yeah, you know, well, we just gotta go out there and make, you know, he was talking about how he was a part of some event. And he was like, "Yeah, when you get certain influencers, and because they was talking, having this conversation. Now they say a bunch of wild stuff. They say wild stuff to each other. You know how Europeans are. You know what I'm saying, with the savage nature, but." Even when they was talking about, you know, the events, they'd be like, well, you know, we just get together with the main people, you know what I'm saying, or a group of us. We just go meet each other or do stuff in real life, not just on the internet, you know what I'm saying? And we meet up like when they in each other's town, but they also have different influencers that will, or that's what they call them, influencers that will put together events and stuff like that. Now, they don't have the same problems that we have, so they can do whatever they want. But the fact is, he was like, man, like a lot of people complain or say you shouldn't do this or you say you shouldn't do that. But he was like, man, like when we put it together, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, people show up, people are out there. You know, they put their money together, their resources together, and they in a different situation than we are, you know what I'm saying? Well, they don't even have to, like we always say we got to do this, we got to do that, but we never do. We just talk about it and talk about it. And like I said, I see them out there doing everything that they got to do, and they not even in the situation that we're in. We got to go harder than them because they work harder than us to maintain the position that they're in, and we got to work harder than them to, you know what I'm saying, get out of the situation that we're in, right? And even when I talk about anybody who's doing something good, the first thing people is going to try to see is like, oh, well, this person is a skeptic. I'm just trying to promote something. I might not even be a part of something, or it may just be to influence you to do something. But the first thing we do is find skepticism within each other. And if somebody say, well, let's do this, then it's going to be a bunch of people say, oh, well, you know, you're scamming, you're doing this, you're doing that. You know what I'm saying? But it's a collective effort. And it's just the fact it shows why we losing. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, we can have these events and we can have these things, these gatherings where they make a lot of money, but they also bring a lot of people out. You know what I'm saying? Because like, listen, man, that's the only way that it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And let me show y'all something real quick, right? And like I said, this ain't gonna be too long, right? You know, I ain't gonna try to be too short, but it ain't gonna be too long either. So let me show y'all this. All right. So I want to show you because even platforms like we on, like now listen, there is black platforms, you know what I'm saying, like my blood of black megas, He got Sankofa Radio, like where he be promoting, and he got a radio channel that's for black people. And I listen to it when I'm at work or doing whatever I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's just like platforms like these. Even this platform is making a shyster money, right? And then we complain about how we get treated in their algorithms or they're blocking our channels. It's their stuff. They can do what they want to do. If we want to do that, then we have to create our own. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying, you just take it. You feel me? So like when we on these platforms, you know what I'm saying, we don't even use them correctly. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them, especially like this is on Twitch, and like I just want to show y'all how they're capitalizing and how they're making money from this, because this is talking about some of their income that they make just off of streaming. Like, how we be on here arguing and be on here for hours and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, like I think there's value in being able to spread your message and your word or your lessons or teach something. You know what I'm saying? But when we be on here arguing all day, right? That's the difference. Now there's platforms also like fan base, where I listen to it every now and then when I can. And one thing, because I can't show some of the stuff, and it's hard to do like the Black History thing on there and all of that stuff. But oh, you started out on Twitch? Yeah, I never been on there, you know what I'm saying? But it's the fact that they convert this to like hundreds of thousands of followers, and mostly, you know what I'm saying, it's like the white boys on there, but they're making a lot of money on there. And even if they do dysfunctional things, I know we like to think only black people do dysfunctional stuff, you know what I'm saying? But when they do it, it's to make profit, to make money. Now they have a whole system, a whole government, so where they can debate. We don't have any of that, you know what I'm saying? And then when we're on here, we're letting somebody else make all of this money. You feel me? So let me play some of this real quick. Yeah, I've never been on Twitch.
A massive Twitch data leak has happened, which reportedly included the amount of money the platform paid streamers in the past 2 years. The numbers are big, but according to a source at Decerto, these numbers can be very skewed based on if the streamer has an exclusivity deal with the platform and how much they were paid up front. The reported top 5 earners in the past 2 years based off the circulating yet not confirmed list is showing: number 5, Nick Merckx, $5 million. Number 4, Tifu, $5.3 million. Number 3, Summit 1G, $5.8 million. Number 2, XQC, $8.4 million. Number 1, Critical Role, $9.6 million.
Now, I was listening to the thing earlier. Oh yeah, they on Twitch hard and they making money, but they like hell, they be on video games on Call of Duty and they be talking and linking. See, we argue on these platforms. They argue sometimes, but they put their stuff together and they know how to put their stuff to the side. Now, the person I was listening to earlier, now this white boy made millions of dollars of Twitch and stuff like that, and they argue and fight with each other. But at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh well, we're making content to do this and do that," but they still understand their nation, right? They still have their nation where they are putting their resources together. They are putting their money to create these events or whatever it is they need. Now, we understand that we need schools, businesses, you name it, hospitals, right? They have all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? So they put their money together to do other stuff, you know what I'm saying? But the point is, they put their money together. And I was listening to this white boy, like, yo, I done made millions of dollars doing this stuff. And all he does is just plays other people's videos and doesn't even comment on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll put the link up. I'll put the link up in a second. Let me just show a couple more things so it don't be too long, and then I'm gonna put the link in there. Now check this out, because I showed y'all this debate platform the other day, right? And they sitting here debating, are trans men, right? See, but they have dumb debate, flat earth debates, religious debates, you know what I'm saying? But when they do this, you know what I'm saying, they are quote unquote making money. And I was trying to show y'all this, especially the last time, to show y'all how much money they make just doing, and they do this every day, you know what I'm saying? How much money they make just doing these platforms. And they talk about, oh, as this particular one say, well, we donated to charity. Now, if we gonna sit there and like I just used the example with the last time with HBCUs, we can debate about HBCUs, but okay, the money that we make from debating about it, we gonna put towards other schools, other things, you know what I'm saying? And see, let me see. Now, this one particular debate, right? So just off of the super chats, just the super chats alone, you know what I'm saying? They was like they made $419 in donations, right? Well, that's what they call it, but it was just super chats. And this is them doing it every single day, right? And so they say it went to the domestic violence center, right? Apparently, allegedly, but it's irrelevant to what they put it to. If we know that funding and money and all of this stuff is a bad habit, we know that we like to debate. We debate about stuff all the time. We just do it for free. And we can't like put our tribal issues to the side and work together and build. Like, if you are about building, you're trying to contribute, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter about any of this stuff. Now, we can have another area where we debate this stuff, but let's even use that for the greater good. You know what I'm saying? Not just put it in our own pockets or whatever it may be. I don't care what it is you debating. Both of y'all can agree on something that it needs to go towards. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be schools, hospitals, or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to see, like, they put their money, you know what I'm saying, like, together. And it's not all of them, right? They don't care about all of them. They just care about those who there. But you don't hear anybody saying, well, how do we know you gave it to Domestic Violence Action Center? You know what I'm saying? They don't say, they just send in their donations to ask questions about why men can be women and all of this nonsense. See, they're debating nonsense, but they're still raising all of this money debating whether men can be women or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, that they're debating, right? So let me show this one real quick, then I'll put the link up in a second. I think I got this wrong, but whatever. And also, right, because we talk about these platforms, all of these platforms, we don't control or own any of them. And this is why I try to encourage other brothers, you know what I'm saying? For when we saying, like, we got to do this, we got to do that, then, like, it's just a matter of going to do it, you know what I'm saying? Now, they created because they got mad at GoFundMe because they wouldn't let them support, you know what I'm saying, them racist white boys, you know what I'm saying? So they just went out and made another website, give, send, go, you know what I'm saying? That's another one. But they have all types of platforms that they have created. And I understand, but this is all the more reasons why you put your resources together and you use these things to capitalize off of it. You know what I'm saying? You commoditize it, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's like he was saying at the beginning, it's not just the money, it's the mindset that comes with it, where we understand we all we got, you know what I'm saying? So, like, this is him just, I ain't gonna play it, but this is him just complaining about GoFundMe. So he's saying, well, instead of complaining, we just created our own platform for donations, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying, like, if we just gonna keep complaining, this is the reason why we can't expect another platform to support us. That's not what they're there for. They're never gonna help us. We know that. So and like I said, this goes to me too. So let me show this real quick and I'm gonna put it in there. All right. So this is their group, right? But so how extremists raise more than $6 million on crowdfunding sites. Now, we know that we need schools, hospitals, like you name it, grocery stores, and all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And even if you like, oh, they got more than us. Well, if we put $2 million into whatever we building, you know what I'm saying? That gets us way further than us trying to be individuals. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I mean when I say, they work more than us. You know what I'm saying? So, let me see. All right. And then you see, this back with the office, the cop Darren Wilson who killed the brother, Michael Brown. Right, so they reached $434,000 or $433,000, and 115,000 signatures to support this brother. You know what I'm saying? But if I show somebody who's trying to do something positive, the first thing, oh well, who is this person? Is there a scam? Is it this? Is it that? If you don't trust or support the person, that's what I'm trying to say. Go do it yourself. So I'm gonna put the link in there because I'm gonna show a couple more. Like I said, this ain't long, and most of this ain't stuff that I'm gonna play. It's just like, man, I'm starting to question, like, man, they are outworking us, and I'm like, damn, we might lose here. You know what I'm saying? If we don't start working, right? So I'll put the link up. All right, and then go through this other part. All right, and of course, you remember the white boy Daniel Penny's legal defense one, and this one particular one got $2 million, but that wasn't the only one. You know what I'm saying? So, and then in August 8th, 2023, Daniel Penny has raised almost $3 million in legal defenses. Now we got this older sister in the Gullah Geechee land, a 93-year-old sister. They trying to take her land. The brother, they trying to take his land. You know what I'm saying? We have so many people, especially when something happened to them. We don't even support each other, let alone when we are creating business. You know what I'm saying? Because we are being outworked. We don't understand it. We are more so on some people of color nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And even that white bitch, they called her the city bike Karen. The sister, they was crying because the brothers had the bike, and the brother's sister came out and had the receipts and all of that stuff. But there's black people out here apologizing and all that stuff to her. But it's irrelevant, you know what I'm saying? Because they raised $120,000 because this white bitch was crying because she wanted to take the brother's car. I mean, the bike. And all I'm saying is, like, if we're not supporting each other, how do you think we're ever gonna get anywhere? Even when we get on these platforms, because that's why I still go on like fan base. That's why I listen to like Go for Radio, because like you at least support it, you know what I'm saying, or try to give what I can to people who are trying to create schools or business or hospitals or something. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to find the negative. Because yeah, that's what they do. They scam, but they still support each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you this one because, like I said, this is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all this stuff. We own none of it, but we are avid subscribers or clientele. And you know what I'm saying? It gets kind of sick, you know what I'm saying? And we talk about, well, these platforms do this to black people. Well, yeah, duh. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. And like I said, I'm on here now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to separate myself because I do it too. You know what I'm saying? They outworking me too. They outworking all of us. Check this out, right? the shady history of the OnlyFans billionaire, right? Because even that, you know what I'm saying, how many of sisters, just, I'm not saying only sisters on there, but I'm only caring about sisters, you know, that is on that platform, and how much money that they make from this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they outwork us, they see a need. Like, we talk about banks and, you know, schools and other important things, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, man, we don't go the full effort to create or to build or to do, you know. Yo, what up, Shanique? Oh yeah, Shanique. I'm just talking real quick about how they outwork us, you know. I was just showing, like, you know, how they make money on their platforms. Snoop gave 10,000 to the 93-year-old lady. He could have paid in full. Tyler Perry gave two. They both couldn't pay it off. Yeah, you know, that's the thing, because they outwork us, right? Even the rich ones, you know, like they're quote unquote rich celebrities put back into whatever community, but they're all white nationalists. So they put in their effort to make sure that their nation is working properly. And they can have arguments about how their government works, right? Because it's their government. And at the end of the day, they all gonna put effort, and we have to put even more effort to even build one or to create one or to have something, you know. All right, somebody came on. Let me see. All right, what's going on, my brother Black Megas? What up, MG2? You should come on here because you was talking about value earlier, MG2. And I'm going quick, but I just, you know, wanted to say like how others are outworking us, and I was just wanted to show like some of the examples, you know, like how like YouTube, even when the debate platforms, we debate about religion and all that stuff, but they made $500. We just sit here and just argue, you know what I'm saying? But what up, my Black Magus? What up, my brother?
Yo, BB for ODA, Black Liberation, man. Feeling blacktastic and yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, my brother. I'm good. Thank you.
Give me a second here. I'm just trying to get right.
Okay, yeah. You can jump in whenever you want to.
Yeah, man. So you know, something that our people suffer heavily from is nihilism. Um, it's definitely being shown when we
Wait.
looked at.
Oh, what is nihilism?
So it is basically the extreme ignorance to truth or fact. Um, and the people will tend to go with a false narrative because it makes them feel good. So that would be the best definition I can give you. With the best example being homosexuality is good for black people. You know, we need to have more homosexuals than any other race, as we see that the that's what the whole narrative is when we look at any media source now. Our women need to be over sexualized. Men need to be feminized. It's a very dangerous dynamic. But we'll see. And I say we, but I really mean the masses. They'll see a small victory, and not want to use that to not even get serious. Our enemy will show us countless times, and this is the point I was trying to make, even about the Alabama thing, was that we're playing around with steel chairs, and these people are playing around with lead bullets. We're just satisfied with, you know, taking somebody away from work for a few hours. These people are about taking lives. It's a dangerous dynamic.
Yeah, I agree. And let me ask you this, because this is one of the things I was saying, like you was talking about when you was doing the challenge, you know, because when I'm out there, all I see is like European white boys, especially like white boys, white girls too. I see them jogging, trying to get in shape, you know, and I walk with my dog and stuff, but I see them out there jogging and, I'm saying, trying to get diesel and all that stuff. And then I'm like, worried, like, yo, if we was really to come whatever, like they have outworked us, like forget the whole, when it comes to the guns, what I'm saying? Do we even have enough shape to fight back if we was in that situation? If we was in Alabama, would you get tired? You know what I'm saying? Like what you think about that when you were saying you haven't seen less than 20% of people was black when you was out there?
Well, that's not something that I was expecting to see that high of in the first place. Even though I live in a community that's getting more and more black people in it, just from my own walking, like I said, the few that I've seen. Um, the irony is because of integration, and like I've explained before, I consider a lot of um, I guess what you would say native born Coloradans and those who migrate here because of the integration and thinking that it's less racist. I describe them as being gray. They've definitely joined on to the assimilism, but you will find those people who are trying to get diesel not anywhere around black people. They'll go to Wash Park, which used to be a historical black part of South Denver. Well, yeah, South Denver, but now it's I can't think of any black people other than those who are striving to be around those people, and those are the ones who I see are like real diesel. Actually, what's the what's the guy who's like Mr. Olympia? I think maybe he just passed away or something like that. Ronnie Coleman or something like that.
Yeah, you talking about the brother?
Yeah, well, I don't know about brother, but
Yeah, black dude. Yeah.
yeah, but he lived out here. When you want to find black people who really want to mingle with white people, especially for integration, I had just a quick story, and I'll let brother MG say what he wants to say. Um, when I was doing rideshare, I picked up three black dudes from Mississippi, big country cornbread fed. I had like a Ford Focus, so it's not really that big. And they said, "Oh no, we just came in town specifically for the white bitches." Said they wasn't interested in nothing else. That's all that they wanted. AMG, that's feedback on you. On your okay. So and I look whenever I would pick up, black people, I didn't care if I think they were like stout integrationists or homosexuals or whatever. I would put on my United Front music, which is the brother African insurrection music. I don't know if you've heard any of their music before. I actually went to send you some tracks, but this is pro-black music talking against homosexuality, against being subservient, being slaves, speaking black empowerment into you. And I always get a reaction out of a brother or a sister, even if they're living that kind of lifestyle. Like the music just makes sense to them, and people really show who they are when they're around strangers, when they really know they'll probably never see that person again. But these brothers were like adamantly like, turn that shit off. Let me listen to some Young Jeezy or something like that. Like they want to listen to trap music. They want to be a fake image of who we are as a people. So when people talk about these white girls acting ghetto and these Mexicans, let them. That's not our image anyway. We don't know who we are as a people, which is causing that separation between us. I'll end by saying that when we were talking about escapism earlier, you know, that's all black people tend to do for anything. Um, we use anything for escapism, which creates a lot of these barriers between us. So if we use religion as an example, and I hope Sister Shanique gets in here and expounds on this. But when we get into any kind of religion or spiritual belief, we can proselytize the hell out of it. We're more stout in it than anybody else. But then we're not the original creator of that religion or spiritual belief. And so when we see our white counterparts doing it, they will be in there reading an entire different understanding of what they're hearing versus what we're hearing. They can be Buddhists and I don't know, a Zoroastrian, and still see each other as, yo, you white, I'm white. We still gonna find a way to at least build on something. You know, they've pushed that division upon us that they had themselves during their dark ages. They've taught the world to be a savage while they get to sit back and be the good guys.
Yeah, I agree. And shouts out to Raw in the building. And MD2, you know, I was saying because your live earlier partly influenced it, and then also I was listening to, you know, these, you know what I'm saying, crack, these white boys, white girls, you know, these crackers, you know, whatever you want to call them. And they was debating like copyright and stuff because they use other people's material and then they just sit there and quote unquote react to it, but they make millions of dollars. The white boy has made millions of dollars, so they was questioning it. And then you was also talking about value earlier, you know what I'm saying? So like this whole conversation, like I'm like, yo, we gotta like I just wanted to kind of get it all, but what you think though, MD2? Well, shouts out to MD2 in the building. Y'all subscribe to MD2.
Hey, peace, you guys. Yeah. I'm glad that Black Magus brought this up. First off, I love African insurrection music. One of my favorites was "Don't Get Caught." You know, that was and the other one, oh, I can't remember the other one. The video had the guys in West Papua New Guinea. That I think it was West Papua. No, it was the Coconut Revolution, and that was one of the videos that they did. I love that. United Front. One of the things that I learned there, Brother Forecast, I'm glad that Black Magus brought it up in terms of nihilism. You know, that's like that constant negativity that, you know, oh, woe is me, the world's going to end, ain't nothing going to happen, without any kind of political objective or any kind of goal. Okay, it's just this, you know, I'm not saying it's completely dystopic, but it is like a dystopic type of, you know, mindset without any concrete action, goal, or end game. And Europeans are very adept at that, you know, because clearly, oh, I know they do have an end game, and it's usually a scorched earth policy. It's usually, you know, even if it hurts us, we just want, if we can't have it, no one can. No one will have it. And when you brought up about, you know, the copyrights, for instance, shoot, I got like massive amounts of songs that have been stolen by one of the head networks, you know, Lil Peckerwood I used to work with, and he took something, you know, it was a lullaby I wrote back for my daughter back in 1990, and I met him in 1994, and so it was 1989 when I wrote it for her. 1994, he stole it. And, you know, no, he stole it in 2000, but, you know, he had, you know, grabbed some of my music back in the mid 90s. That's when I met him. And, you know, he's going out saying, hey, look what I created. You know, I used to be like a ghostwriter for a lot of folks for television as well. You heard a lot of my stuff in amusement parks, you name it. So the thing is I expected, you know, even back then, I wish I knew what I know now, because I would have never met this dude. The thing is this is what those who are nihilistic in terms of economic nihilism, they don't care. Their end game, other than pure nihilism, they will do anything pessimistic, woe is me or whatever, but their end game is definitely scorched earth. And whether it works in the copyright industry, it doesn't matter. Like, what was it that Ray Charles sung? Look at what they done to my song. I mean, that is just a common thing. Dr. John Henrik Clarke said it best. The only thing they invented is the patent office. And I've been trying to teach this on every live stream, that patents are very important. Remember, Western society is run by banking, payment, credit, insurance, investment, and patents, or intellectual property, and or publishing, for lack of a better term. And all that means is I'm gonna monetize something that you did, and it'll be in my pocket. Thank you, going your way. Whether it's a good jump shot or sling and crack rock, like the song said. But the thing is when you were talking about that, when you're talking about these Peckerwoods there, Brother Forecast, one thing that they recognize is not the value of things. Black folks put the impetus on the value of things. Shall we say Beanie Babies, Cabbage Patch Dolls, mood rings, pet rocks? That's the value of things, yet they don't exist today. No different than what sneakerheads, and in 20 years, folks will be laughing about the folks that bought, $2,000 sneakers. No different than text pagers, whatever iPhone, rims. You're valuing things that don't have an intrinsic value to it, except for whatever it costs to manufacture it. Peckerwoods know the value of value. They put an arbitrary value on something. That's why you had NFTs, you have Bitcoin, you have Masterworks, the art investment, you had real estate bubbles, you have, stock bubbles, whatever. They value whatever in other words, you go to buy a car and you thinking you're going to pay a certain price. Well, there's a sticker price on there for a reason. That's extrinsic value. That's that fluff in there that everybody pays, not knowing that, hey, that doesn't really need to be there. There's really no overhead except for whatever you put in the car salesman's pocket. The thing about Black folks is we, unfortunately, fall in love with things and not value. When you fall in love with value, you know your true self-worth. You're looking at a people, Brother Forecast, and I beat up on Black folk every day. I love it. Because it's like looking at an oil well, and these folks are thinking that they're producing Slurpees. No. Okay, you cannot run a car in a Slurpee. We are literally more important, and I don't want to put us in terms of a commodity, but I have to. Oil is what runs this planet. We are what runs this planet, whether it's through security, whether it's our natural resource, whether it's our intellectual property that was stolen, or the stuff we just come up with last week. But we don't know our value because we're thinking that these oil wells running around called Black folk, all we could do is produce Slurpees. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna produce a strawberry Slurpee. No, you have the talent, the mindset. Our bodies are well equipped more than anything else on this planet. That should tell you enough. But we don't want to recognize that because we don't know value there, Brother Forecast. Brother Magus, if we knew what we could do, we wouldn't, as I said previously, you wouldn't have unfortunate Negroes running around laying their jerseys on a court saying, well, this is my protest. If every one of those so-called ball players said, we're going to take a day off. Matter of fact, we're going to take a year off. You best believe that George Zimmerman would have been executed on the spot by Donald Trump himself because they don't want to lose money because they recognize value. We recognize, ideologies. We recognize, if we could go ahead and get this so-called country in shape and we can be a part of something. No, it's not a country. It's a flea market. It's never been a country. The United States and all Western empires is nothing more than one big Walmart. You get natural resource, you industrialize it, turn it into something, you commoditize it, i.e. sell it on the market, and then you franchise the organization. That's why you've got 10 billion hamburgers sold. They took cows, turned them into hamburgers, then they went ahead and put them in these stores called McDonald's, and now they're all over the world. That is when you recognize value. We recognize things like chicken sandwiches. We recognize things like, oh yeah, such and such is building a museum and he's got 18,000 TikTok and YouTube followers. Falling in love with things is for children. Falling in love with value, and the value of value is the folks that provide the little treats, toys, and meals for children. And that's one thing I hope that our folks will actually recognize when it comes to, when you talk about copyrights. Had I known this dude, or had I known what I know now about Europeans, and that I would never have lost a gangload of material that somebody else made money on that I wrote. Anyways, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, absolutely. Melanated Goddess in the building. What's going on, Melanated Goddess?
Peace, bro. Peace, peace, peace to you and your platform that's always uplifting the people. Gotta stop by every now and then and show some love. I definitely have been enjoying what the brother has been sharing. Sometimes we need those perspectives that may seem to be a little bit different than ours, because we don't want to have like an echo chamber. Everyone's saying everything that we're thinking, and it's just blackety black, 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 pro black, black. I totally was really embracing at least a good portion of what the brother was saying. I think he would be surprised at some of the acceptance that he gets in some of these spaces, outside of what he expects to get. So, to the brother, spread your voice around, because you would be surprised at the people who actually agree with some of your. I don't know if you're privy to like just the blackety black spaces, and maybe people who think differently. We're not a monolith, and we all think. There's an array of different opinions and positions that we take on different issues, and some of us might surprise you that we might actually agree, as opposed to you expecting to disagree with us. That's just my message to you, brother. And again, just peace to everyone.
Is that being addressed to me, sister?
If you would, yeah, I believe if you were the last brother speaking before I joined, yeah, I think I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I think she was talking to MD2.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry,
Yeah, no,
MG2.
yeah, no, it's all good. I appreciate you coming through, Melanated guys. It's been a minute. I appreciate you. All right, so let me do this before I pass it to Black Mag. I'm gonna just show y'all like I'm not gonna like kind of what I was saying before because I seen Shanique came in and Raw came in too. All right, so I was just saying like right, even these platforms, they was talking about how they make all of these money off these platforms, and they say the same stuff, but we just use the platform to just argue. And like here, you see, like they sitting here arguing about can trans men be men, right? But the point is, even when they're debating that, you know what I'm saying, they done made $419, which they claim went to Domestic Violence Action Center. But that's irrelevant, like, because if we're gonna be arguing about religion or any of that kind of stuff, at least have a thing where we're not just sitting here arguing, you know what I'm saying, making other people money. You use it for your own good, you know what I'm saying? And then I also
I'm
show
just saying the black community probably done spent at least, I would say, probably 20 to 50,000 on the topic of can trans women be women. So it's very interesting that they're speaking about trans men, because trans men in the black community is almost like $0. Like we really don't talk about it, because there aren't many black women transitioning into being black men. Like it's very few. Like probably in 1,000, you might have like two or three. It's like it's just very, very few black women that are saying, I identify with being a black man. I want to be a black man. I want to have a penis. I want to be operate as a man, because we already know how difficult it is to be a black man. So why would a black woman? You see what I'm saying? Like it's very few in our community, and I think that's actually something we should pay attention to. The numbers of trans black women. So black men who are transitioning into being black women, and why a man who experiences the difficulty of being a black male would seek solace in becoming a black woman. And we should pay attention to why a young black woman would not really want to become a black man, and why the thing of being a trans black man is our numbers are so low. I think all of that, we should pay attention to when we analyze statistics.
Um,
I don't know. What are
I,
your thoughts?
I, can can I answer something, or at least just make a comment towards something?
No,
Yeah.
I
Um,
want to know. I want to know what your thoughts are. That's why I said all of that. I really want to know what your thoughts are around those two different things of data that's out there.
okay, let me first ask this question: why does that matter to you? For you to formulate that question means it matters to you.
Well, I mean, as a black woman, the trans issue where you have more men identifying as being part of our group than you have biological women identifying as being part of their group is of an importance to me as a woman. So hopefully that in of itself is enough of a response. Like it's important to me when men want to join our group and a larger amount than women wanting to join their group. Like that, I'm curious as to why.
Okay, okay. I get what you're saying now, because at first I wasn't really getting a semblance of what you were saying, but in essence, it concerns you of all of the female impersonators that there are versus how many sisters are trying to be male impersonators. Is that a safe assumption?
Well, I think yes, but I mean, as a black woman, I can't impersonate to be a male Asian, right? So I think it's fair to
Okay, sis.
say. So I
Okay,
think it's
sis.
fair to say. No, no. Listen, I think it's fair to say that my analysis is looking within my own group first as primary. So if I'm looking with my goggles, I'm going to be looking at black men because who else would try to be a black woman as opposed to a black man first, right?
Uh,
Like that would be my first look.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Now, I'm going to answer this way because one, I feel like I don't want to really get off what the topic is. So this part I feel like is just not really needed. Um, I'll say it this way, and to not sound harsh or anything like that, you've fallen for the propaganda. Granted, you should be concerned about black women. You should definitely be concerned about black women. You should be concerned with any agenda that seeks to strip your womanhood away from you. And on that, you need to take a stand on. But to worry about these things the way that you're saying it, even to the point of, but I can't identify as a Asian man. Look, sis, all that shit is part of the confusion. That's what we have to understand, is that this is why these things are even topics now, because they've flooded the airwaves with this. The longer you sit there and talk about this, the longer you're going to find yourself using their terms, using their things in our situations. Even when we're talking black, we're going to still find ourselves around others who don't talk black. They talk politically
But
correct.
brother, with all respect, with all due respect, you besides of you knowing that I specifically identify to an identity as a female black identity, you don't know, and I didn't share the predominant environment in which I reside, in which I live, and so forth. So it's not so much always like pretending, like for, I think that there is a good portion of the black community that I do represent where we have to be very, very cognizant of someone's gender identity. That is a large part of their
Okay,
daily lives because
okay,
we
okay,
all
okay.
hold on, brother. I understand you're tired of listening to me, but that's I do understand that I perceive that as being rude if you start speaking while I'm speaking. So just like I just understand how you're coming across because I was literally speaking. You started saying okay. So I guess that means you're done
But
listening.
but
But
you never even let me finish my initial.
no, actually, you were
You
done.
came
I
to
did
give a
no, I did not
rebuttal.
interrupt you. I did
Wait,
not interrupt you.
yeah,
I did not.
hold on, y'all. So let
All
Melanated
right.
Goddess get it out, and then Black Megas, and then because I if MG2 want to jump in on the conversation, so go ahead, Melanated Goddess, and then Black Megas, you could follow up, and then MG2.
Thank you, brother. Because I did not interrupt the brother. He's trying to say as if I did like interrupt while he was speaking, but I didn't. So I just wanted to say that we all aren't on the same path, right? But when we have certain outside of our like cultural, whether I'm Navajo or Chickasaw or Cherokee or Yoruba or Igbo or Fulani, right? Whatever my ethnic background is, if we have like a mutual understanding, like while you're speaking, I don't speak, and while I speak, you don't speak, right? It's really hard to have a disagreement, and I seldomly do have disagreements with people who have varying ethnic backgrounds, whether they're Asian, or continental African, or continental American, right? I don't have disagreements with them when we kind of have those neutral understandings of respect and reciprocity. So with that being said, pretty much what my background, what the essence of what I was saying is that if we come into our interactions understanding that there will be some similarities, but there's going to be a lot of differences, then the judgmentalness and the separation, this is the division that we sometimes enter into these spaces won't even be there because we're kind of going to expect those divisions to be there. I don't expect you to worship the way that I worship. But if you worship somewhere similar, I'm like, okay, that's what's up. You know, I'm going to acknowledge it, but I'm not going to come in with the expectation that you have to be just like me. And I think that the more that we get to that place, we won't have as big of an issues as we do in 2023 or 2022 or 2020 or whatever. That's all. That's peace.
All right, go ahead, Black Megas.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the best way to say I'm just not trying to argue with a nihilistic person at this moment right now. Again, just if you feel the need to voice your opinions, then it should be your job to voice your opinions out to the public. I'll just say that. If MG2 has anything to say, because like I said, I think we've gotten way off topic now.
MG2, you got anything to say?
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of learning because when you said that these individuals, no matter what the topic they were talking about on the YouTube channel, they were able to garner some money or garner at least listeners or garner at least interest. And their topic that these Europeans are talking about on their YouTube, to me, is immaterial for Black progress. But what's important is that they have, again, it's about the value of value. They've reached a certain amount of value to get a certain amount of interest. And I would love to see the same for us, no matter what we call ourselves, what we want to do, this, that, and the other. You know, unfortunately, you know, a lot of folks have been distracted by European values and, you know, and the frame of reference from Europeanism. I would like us to start. It would be nice. I can't tell us what we got to do. You know, I can't say what we're going to do or what we got to. I'd say it would behoove us to start, you know, in best interest to think of ourselves as a monolith that needs to survive. We may have all kinds of differences. We may have all kinds of different opinions. We may have all kinds of different ideologies, religions, cliques, clubs, groups, homies, teams, villages, crews, gangs, whatever. But at the bottom line is a monolith that knows that a sense of urgency for survival takes precedent over anything else anyone feels, says, thinks, or wants. It's I have a feeling, and I might be wrong, but I tend to think, like I said before, every other race in this world is Pan-African, more Pan-African than we are. We're about, as African or as Black folks, especially in the United States, are probably the least Pan-African in comparison to every other race. And the reason I say that, because amongst each other, our differences or our stratification of ideologies or the way we think, the way we feel, or the way that right there is it's healthy because we have different opinions and different religions and different clubs, groups, and cliques. But unfortunately, to the true Pan-Africanists on this planet, which are Europeans, Asians, Arabs, East Indians, and the others, these other two-legged species that many people call human, unfortunately, the thing to them is we're nothing but a bunch of N-words. They see us all as a monolith to destroy, to exploit, to take all the resources out of Niger, Benin, or even Chicago, to steal not only us as our bodies, but also steal the morality out of children, to where they're getting young brothers wearing dresses, to steal not only that, but whether it's resources out of Niger or it's to steal things out of Compton, LA, or steal my song. It doesn't matter. They see us all as one thing. And that one thing to them is one thing to be exterminated. So if we had the sense of urgency to say, wait a minute, we are a monolith. Maybe not in ideology, maybe not in the way that we want to, we all pray or the way we all think or whatever, but a monolith that says somebody's out here to destroy us all. And we're acting as a monolith to protect ourselves, to make sure not only do we survive, but we destroy them. I'll pass the mic, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, I agree, my brother. And I get what y'all saying. I get what Black Meg is saying. I get what Melanated God is saying. Because I was just listening to this gay dude be like, "Oh well, women can have period." I think it has something to do with like our weakness as not all of us as Black. And this is what I'm saying. They work harder than us, And when they be like, "Oh, a dude can have a period" and all of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of crazy, And I see Black gay dudes kind of saying that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So like I get what she's saying. I get what you saying, Black Megas, I think I don't know, I think we kind of we kind of on the same tip, but just like different perspectives, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I don't know.
So I'll say it this way, since I've had some time to think about it. When you breathe life into something, then you risk the chance of that thing getting out of control, or for others to continue to breathe life into it for you so that they can carry it on. A lot of these psychosis topics that we're having is because there's somebody who wanted to push the narrative. The person who wanted to push the narrative had the money, had the means, had a developed plan that they could use to get this pushed. And because they can do it through every means necessary for every way the human body can take in data or information, that stuff has entered into people's psyche. And so now they're repeating things that don't need to be talked about, that only further eludes them away from what is fact and what needs to be talked about. Now, if those people are so diehard about these things that they proselytize themselves, then they should make it a one-man mission or make it their mission to go find their tribe so that they can go hang with those people. That's going to be how they feel that acceptance. They should not feel as if it is their job or duty to bring those type of conversations around others who they know are nowhere interested in being a part of that type of narrative. But because we live in a society that tells you, no, you need to be heard, you need to push your belief upon others. It's ironic how that goes now, even when we apply what MG2 said, they're more Pan-African than us. So they get to practice Pan-Africanism while then telling us what it is we must do. And when the masses feel a certain way, then you get those who aren't on board, they will start to get scrutinized by the masses. And that only
It's
furthers
not
the
just
psychosis. That's
and
all. That's all it ends up to. It feeds the psychosis that gets things completely off track, and it gets us away from real work that has to be done. The real work that has to be done is we must find something that we can identify with as a people. And I understand that, you know, we don't want to all identify as being black, but let's say if you're going to get something from the American system, if you're going to get reparations from the American system, you need to identify yourself as something that they have a classification for you as. If you're
listen.
going to be a
You
person who is black, then identify as Black American. And okay, let me show you that there's a plan. There's a long-term strategic plan, 100-year
it's
plan
gonna
that has been put
benefit
together.
them. It's going
That
to benefit them, just like if
what do
it
we do?
was a mixed race plan that didn't benefit them, they absolutely wouldn't be benefit. They wouldn't be. They wouldn't co-sign for that. Like most people, right? I think that if we are looking as whatever you want to call us, black, Negro, copper colored, Negroid, melanated, black, blackity black, African descent, Africans in America, whatever you want to call us people that we know who we are, whenever the identity seems like it's not in our beneficial, what history has shown us is that we would identify with something else, right? So even though we are those people, if it says identify as um free people of color as opposed to African descent, if free people of color can buy property and African descent can't, history has shown us our people are going to say, I'm a free people of color, right? If being a mulatto works better than being black, and we could pass for mulatto, history has shown us we're going to pass for being mulatto. If being white will benefit us as opposed to being African, just as if an Egyptian or a Moroccan, right? History has shown us, the present day history has shown us they will identify as not being black or African, and they will identify as being white. So why the frig are we surprised when we are reading things in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s of ancestors identifying with things that are suspect? Like it's survival. Like why are we looking at it and saying, see, they wasn't from Africa. Like what, come on. When people are freaking code switching in 2023, are you freaking kidding me? That's crazy. What do you think our ancestors were doing when their natural language was tweet, right? Do you think they were speaking that shit in front of the white man? They was hella code switching, right? So why do we think we're better than them? They was totally switching up, talking, yeah, boss, yeah, da, da, da. Meanwhile, they on spiritual shit. They want some. They talking about Jesus and the Holy Ghost, trying to make sure they can make it. Fake in the front. Why? I'm confused. I'm totally confused by this. Like, we really think we looking at how we conduct things like we somehow better than them. Like we ain't pretending for fucking survival because the black man know his instinct really is for revolution. He know his real instinct is to fucking fight back and clap back. But he knows that shit means death and destruction. So he goes into okay, how can we get along to be along? That type of thing, right? Because he want to survive and he want the next generation to even perpetuate itself. Like, let's not act like what was in our ancestors ain't in us. Like, I'm not, this whole conversation is sounding real weird to me. Like they
It it
tripping.
it definitely has started sounding weird for these last 10 minutes here. Um, as I was just trying to finish up with saying is that there is a long-term strategic plan that's been put together. It's a 100-year plan that if anybody wants to read it, um, you can go to blackeconomics.org. It's a PDF that you can read. A couple of elders got together to create this plan for us. But the problem is that, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it as a problem, but the very first step of the plan, if you think of Dr. Claude Anderson with his five pyramid thing, then you would look at this plan almost similar in that type of diagram. Well, the very first part of this plan is education, not economics, as Dr. Claude Anderson does. The reason why education is because we must first unify with an identity in order to be able to move forward as a group of people. This long-term strategic plan uses the term of Black American or Afro descendant of slavery. So that's the terminology that's used in it, but it is a plan that is for us. I've read at least a couple of the first pages of it on my Instagram. If you want to just check it out, if you don't want to read it yourself, but it's only like 144-page document. So just go to blackeconomics.org so you can get that free PDF on that.
Hey, by the way, Black
So,
Megas.
brother, would you say that's your Instagram is blackeconomics.org, or is
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
because
want to understand how to
yeah,
reach what you're speaking about, because it sounds like dope, like actually phenomenal information about like black people being very like proactive and instead of reactive, and that's I think a lot of what we see is like the reactive stuff. So I want to see it, number one, and share it as well. So where should I go? Should I go to Black Economics?
yeah, because I was gonna say Black Megas, you should put your because I'm gonna do it. I gotta go to Instagram and all of that stuff. You should put your channel in there too. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, can you please, brother, put your channel in the chat, right? And put the name of the Instagram that you want everyone to follow. Please, please, please advertise that in the on the chat. Like, this is coming from an honest place where some people, because of the lack of, how do you say it, like substance, right? A lot of us are just malnourished, because I'm one of them. Like, I'm not a person that I nourish myself with degeneracy. I just stay in the lack of substance until I'm exposed to more substance, right? So if you happen to have a channel that has substance, I'm going to subscribe, I'm going to patronize your channel, but if I don't know about it, I'll just stay malnourished. That's just me. I'm not out here seeking bull crap and just taking it in. So from a person who's like just an honest soul, hey, please promote your channel clearly so we understand who we're subscribing to and all of that good stuff. Like if there's 2, 3 channels, promote it now so we know what you talking about, brother. Trying to subscribe. What's up?
All right. All right. So before we move on, if MG2 got anything to put on it, before we go on, because this is supposed to be just a review. But go ahead. If MG2 got something to say.
Oh, you can go on. I'll comment in a minute.
All right. So yeah, I was showing this, and then I also showed this because we know about like all of the fundraiser platforms and how they do. So I was showing how they came up with this thing called Give Send Go, so they can support and promote their own people. I was showing that like all the money they was raising, you know what I'm saying, for their groups. Let me play this thing real quick, right? Because now this is about OnlyFans, but it's not only OnlyFans, it's YouTube too. I be doing the same. Shanique said in the chat, like, because I don't have a super chat, because like, you know, especially the videos I show, they be trying to flag me and give me strikes all the time. But even just how they profit off of everything, and we give our bodies, give our, like, from jobs, and it's all of this stuff. It's not just OnlyFans, but you know, let me just play some of this.
The content creators to set the price and gave them a generous 80% stake for every dollar they made. There's also a generous tipping system as well. OnlyFans just became the single groundswell for a lot of adult performers, a lot of the industry, in the same way that businesses like Zoom became a part of our meeting culture,
Like
in the same way as payment businesses like Stripe. OnlyFans just
what's the thing with Instacart and DoorDash, all of that stuff
became huge during the pandemic.
Let me see.
But there was something else which was much more concerning and a lot more eye-catching, which was some of these password sites were offering logins to what were described as underage pornography, even some referencing models under the age of 10, 11 in some cases. So pretty gruesome stuff. He knew that pedophiles were out there, and he knew he could make money from them by getting them to click. And when they did click, they didn't get that illegal content they were after. They just got taken through either to other password sites on illegal content. That seemed to be the nature of his business. And this was happening sort of from the late 1990s to the mid 2000s.
In the mid 2000s, Radzinski caught onto the craze for leaked celebrity sex tapes, even if they didn't exist. He registered sites for Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, and Britney Spears. He did this because the websites would still drive traffic, whether or not there was any tape on there.
This is quite funny because OnlyFans, its whole thing is you have to pay to get this content, and we're going to pay these porn stars and these celebrities a fair amount. He was essentially saying, back then, I'm going to give you free access to these porn sites, and so they're not going to get your money, but you'll still get their content. And the fact that you have a majority owner who back in the day, has run, these big amateur porn sites, was once, courting the attention of pedophiles, essentially, even though he wasn't giving them content. I think that really has to affect, what happens when they IPO. Still a lot of stuff we don't.
This site is at $1 billion right now. I ain't gonna play no more. I guess that's like off now, but since MG2, you got any thoughts on this?
There's no difference between GoFundMe, Super Chat, Patreon, Clubhouse, Instagram. I think I said that. Ain't no difference between that and OnlyFans. What they did is they created a need, or at least they exploited the need. When you guys are probably too young to remember when the internet first came out. I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I remember doing websites for this one guy. He's a multimillionaire, and he wanted his first web page. And back then, when you had a 2400 baud modem, and literally it took you like 3 minutes to go ahead and download a web page because that's like what the internet was. You had to hook up your phone line. One thing that we said to ourselves back then in the days of programming, that the porn industry will be the most prolific thing you'll ever see on the internet. A lot of folks didn't believe back then. Well, now it's a reality. And it's not just that. We also said, you give the folks the ability to talk and make themselves celebrities like you do on TV, that's going to outdo even regular TV. Now you're living it. We just call it Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat. I guess I don't know if that's still around. We call it the Gram. We call it now Threads because of Mark Zuckerberg. Here's what I mean. They go ahead and exploit a need. Folks need a lot of things. They need, companionship. I don't want to get crude because there's women on the chat, but you know what I'm saying. They need to make sure that they need to be recognized as celebrities. Look at me, I'm important. So there is no difference. There is not 1 degree of separation between OnlyFans and Instagram, or Instagram and Twitter, or what folks call Black Twitter. The thing is, what we recognize is the value of value. This dude created something that was really, it's no different than, as you said, DoorDash. You know, I always like to say the so-called gig economy, DoorDash, Uber, Airbnb. We were doing that back in the hood, and we didn't have cell phones. You know, it was like, hey man, you know, can you run such and such down to the store so you can pick up some of such and such? Yeah, I'm staying over there at Pookie's house tonight. What you gonna give him? That was a fact of life. We didn't need a cell phone and an app to do what was natural. But what they did is they'd exploited the obvious. And we knew that back then when we were putting websites. We knew that folks had the sense of wanting to be called a celebrity. Now you just have to pay for it, whether it's premium YouTube or OnlyFans. You have to pay for the fact that you want to be a celebrity. Like a lot of these folks call themselves influencers. What are you influencing? What are you influencing folks to do? I mean, really, that they don't do on a regular basis. Oh yeah, you know, I have a different way of brushing my teeth. I wouldn't have done it this way had I not watched, you know, Tariq Nasheed show me how. I mean, the thing is that's what I mean by value, is they're exploiting the value of value and not the value of things. You still brush your teeth regardless the way you've been doing it since you were 3. You know, you don't need Umar Johnson to come in and say, no, you have to use your right hand and brush up and down. But yet what they do is they exploit that to say, hey, if we can go ahead and make you your own celebrity, because every individual, Brother Forecast, and that's why you got the GoFundMe's and all that. I mean, if you guys see that all these different platforms that right-wingers use, and we're not just talking, you know, like Substack, Rumble, and Locals, and there's so many other things it's like sprouting like popcorn of different ways of folks. We just call it the hustle. I call it digital begging. Okay, because I could sit and have a conversation with someone. Why would I go ahead and pay $9.99 a month to Rumble to go ahead and have the same conversation with someone who cannot clean my house or fix my car? The thing is, you know, if you understand what real value is, and that's the value of being productive, the value of creating things that people want, need, can't do without, and ready to kill for it. Watching Cynthia G, I don't need it, and I damn sure we can kill for it. The thing is if you create something that is of a value and not of a thing is sitting down in front of an OnlyFans screen and doing bad things. And I don't want to get crude. A thing is listening on Clubhouse, like I saw a lot of black folk do for 12, 18 hours on a Clubhouse app. Remember, Clubhouse came out, it was $9 million. Once black folk figured out it existed, and within 9 months, it was $1 billion. So the thing is somebody knew more about value than we did. So the thing is it's very important that you're living in a society that does not care how you think, doesn't care how many times you say Hotep. Shoot, I wake up every morning saying a Bibi Fahodie because I believe in that. I believe in us taking over. But this so-called European society does not care, and I'm glad it doesn't care, because that gives me the advantage of saying I know their game. The problem is they're gaming us, and they're gaming us because we want to identify or be recognized or being loved and needed and admired and acknowledged and everything else by these, you know, just watch The Wiz, homework assignment. Watch the end of the movie The Wiz. And when you saw Toto pull that thing outside and Richard Pryor was exposed, that is no different than what you're seeing in Western society. They create nothing of value. All they did was they created a patent office. All they do is they go to war. And I'm not just talking West, I'm talking non-African, non-black folk. They go to war everywhere they go. They have a scorched earth mentality. If you know that exists, you as black folk got the advantage. If you don't know that exists, well, you'll never have the advantage. I'll pass the mic, Brother Forecast.
Definitely.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead. And then Melanated Goddess, go ahead. Man,
you know, it's always a blessing when we have some good intellectual conversations here. You know, what MG2's touched on so much, and I'm trying to find just the one key thing I want to stay focused on, which in my opinion is, again, what we talk about with that fractured psyche, not knowing who we are. When you were showing even the Twitch, like I said, I started out on Twitch. I did not know the extreme amount of personality disorder Black people suffered from. Let me put it that way. There's an extreme level of it, to the point where, you know, you have people Now, the people who are behind the camera, they could be doing it just for a paycheck, you know, because they have to build a platform. But what you find out, you know, even with things like OnlyFans, what they capitalize off is you find people who have a fetish for the things that you have going on. And MG2 can tell you that one of the biggest things that really was being used by white people for the internet was pornography, sex. That was the huge biggest thing. And I believe drugs came after that. Is that correct, MG2?
Pretty much.
Okay. So they've always had these things ingrained where they're gonna push those narratives. They're gonna do those things. But not until they can get us involved in it does it soar. But see, what has happened is that social media as a whole has become a welfare check to the black community, because now you have so many people who will do what the algorithm tells them to do or to say, or they'll get their little notification saying, hey, you know, because once you get monetized, you have to stay afloat. You have to keep making new content. You know, they even get to the point on Instagram where they joke about it. Instagram said I needed to make a reel, so here it is. Here's my reel. You know, it's become a welfare check. And because it's so easily accessible, now everybody can be a star. If you watch the TV series Black Mirror, there's an episode on there. It's on Netflix. There's an episode on there called 1 Million Merits, and it shows I do not know the Nigerian brother's name. He's the one who played Wakabi on Black Panther, and the one from Get Out, the main character. He's the main character in this story. And basically, he lives in some sort of futuristic world where people just live inside of I'd say 500 by 500 box, with television being literally programmed into them. There's nothing else that they can do. They sit in a glass clear box with television being broadcast to them. They have to pay for everything that they get, to use their own restroom, to use toothpaste, to brush their teeth, even to watch the TV shows that they're watching. And then they have to get up in the morning, and everybody must work. You have people who ride bicycles, and you have people who pick up the trash of those who ride the bicycles. And again, they're always watching television. Well, there's a TV show on there, much like America's Got Talent or something like that, where the people who are working, running the bikes, they all are trying to save up 1 million merits so they can be on this television show. And when they get on the television show, it's seen by everybody. So now everybody is looking at this person vicariously once they win something, and they feel like, hey, I just won something too. Now, what's not told to you is that the person who is actually on the game show at that time, before they walk on, they have to drink a special drink called compliance juice. So you have to do what they tell you to, regardless of whether you want to do it or not. And that's what we're seeing being done in this society, you know, especially through television, but through social media, we're seeing that welfare class being made where people will do anything just for that check. And we know that we've been on how many different platforms or in somebody's live, and we might spit some fact and the entire chat would jump on us, or the hosts themselves would toss us out. You know, that's all you see when you watch a Jason Black live. You know, somebody call in with some real knowledge or something like that. I remember James Smalls called in to the platform once, and Jason Black was like, I don't know who you are. And he almost kicked him off. And it's like, wow. you see our people gravitating towards this, man, and all we're doing is funding a welfare baby, because you have the one who's actually doing the content and everybody else who's quick to help that person stay monetized, and they live vicariously through that one person who they choose to be their leader. I'll pass the mic.
Melanated Goddess.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm listening to the brother and everyone else on the panel.
Okay.
Brother Forecast, can I say something to respond to Black Magus?
Yeah, for sure.
Man, Black Magus, why you do that to me? Oh my God, that is just incredible. You have given me so many ideas, brother, and I gotta thank you for it. I'm probably at least 20 years, 30 years older than you, and now I had to learn something like I just went to school. Man, you have said so much, especially when you brought up Black Mirror. I remember that episode all too well with Daniel Kaluuya. I'll never forget that, because it rings so true in this environment. Why they created a Go Send Me and don't have to worry about a GoFundMe, or Give Send Go or something like that. I think that's the name of the new GoFundMe. And the reason when you said that, Black Magus, it hit me when you said about folks, these checks. Folks are once Elon Musk took over Twitter, they were paying $9.99 for the checks, and in other words, Elon Musk, who is a Boer from South Africa, for Azania, his folks reveled in apartheid. That's where he made his money. And the same individuals like the Jason Blacks and anyone else that wants to be looked at because they don't know James Smalls, Professor James Smalls, they're paying an apartheidist Boer who is responsible for killing Nelson Mandela. They're giving him $9.99 as a blue check mark so they could go ahead and look important. And that was no different than that Black Mirror. I mean, a lot of folks, Black Magus, don't realize that data is the most expensive commodity in the world. We as Black folks don't know that. We don't maximize because we don't necessarily think in terms of our own give, send, go. So that's why we do Patreons and Super Chats and GoFundMes and everything else, making other folks rich, because you know who owns those. Clearly, you got Jack Dorsey. Clearly, he owns. You got the Korean and the little hook-nosed bagel eater that own Patreon. You've got all these others. So the thing that gets me is data. Even the words I'm talking, Google's going to monetize this. They monetize everything. They use it for forensic evidence to see what ethnicity you are. They use it for military apparatus, for social media. Or social engineering, so they could go ahead and attack other countries or other. If anyone doesn't know that social media is a social engineering effect, in other words, they know how to scope a population and make you think. Let's promote these guys that are talking about Israelites over the guys that talk about Moors, and maybe we could get some beefs going on. If anybody doesn't think that is done by design so they can get more data, because the more data a lot of folks talk about these algorithms. Oh, the algorithm's going to do this and that. Dang it, I programmed algorithms for damn near 45, 50 years. The thing is it's not about likes and dislikes that you get. It's about engagement. The more eyes you have on something, the more money someone else makes that owns that data. So if you got 1,000 dislikes, that means that there's 1,000 eyes that somebody else can monetize and say, yeah, well, we've got engagement. We've got data. Remember, data is a commodity that nobody realizes is the thing that the world cannot do without right now. Whether it's data security, data monitoring, data parsing, data manipulation, data forensic analysis, it does not matter. These ones and zeros, bits and bytes that go through as I'm talking to you, there's going to be at least 133 companies on every word that are going to find a way to make money. It's not just Google. You're going to find advertisers. You're going to find the folks that aren't advertisers, but to need to go ahead and analyze my voice. I'm a forensic audio engineer. I know a lot about going ahead and analyzing sound waves. So they're going to analyze it and say, he sounds like he's someone Black in the mid 60s. And we're going to see how we can use that kind of forensic audio to go ahead and sculpt an agenda so we can monetize and make some money, maybe even in Toledo. So the thing is a lot of our folks, Black Magus, you just brought out a lot of good info for me, because we don't necessarily see the depths. We see the things. Again, we don't see the value. Every live stream we do is more valuable to the individuals that allow you to do it, whether it's StreamYard or Google. Why? Because for every hour that we spend, somebody's making $1 billion. And it's not just one company. And we're not just talking the company that allowed you to do it. We're talking the data security experts. We're talking about those that parse the data, the ones that analyze and create new kinds of technologies because of the sound waves or the pictures that we give them. These are things that a lot of us don't recognize. It's not just a social media channel. You have no channel. These things are owned and controlled by the folks that need your data, that need as much as you can give them so they can either monetize it or use it as a weapon against you. And that's the thing that, unfortunately, like whether it's Facebook, it doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's a part of that game, whether if they don't know it or not. Do you not have a cell phone with GPS? You best believe there's at least 100 companies that are using it one way or the other to go ahead and monetize it or use it against you. So this is one thing that I have to say with that give, send, go that these folks created, or even the OnlyFans billionaire. They knew the value of value was not in the fact that they've got folks and saying, oh yeah, we're going to give you this, some degenerates that like to screw horses and kids. No, they said, we're going to give something that we know the value of the sickness or the craziness or the need, like folks need to have an Instagram reel, or the value of this. We're going to give something that they need because they need, there's a vacuum that needs to be filled, and we're going to monetize it, make some cash, and then they're going to be coming back to us for more. Hopefully our folks will see that whether it's social media, GoFundMe, of what I call digital begging, because that's all it is. You know, it doesn't create any value. Brother Magus talked about welfare. You best believe, oh man, you brought something out when you said that. This is not only just digital welfare. I don't mind a welfare check. What I mind is what you do with it. And unfortunately, these welfare checks called social media ads or whatever, I don't care who gets it, whether it's Jason Black or whoever else. What did they do with that welfare check? I have not seen anyone try to build an industry. They build their egos. They go ahead and buy, new cars and homes and live in white communities like, Mr. I'm a building museum. But I have never seen one build an industry. Never seen one build something to compete against the folks that give them that check. That is the problem. The digital welfare check is one thing, but it's the digital welfare mindset that destroys us all. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the point. That's what I'm saying. And that includes me, because I'm on somebody else's platform, and there are Black platforms out there that we could be using, although you can't like have videos or nothing like that, and it'll be more difficult. But like I said, like they outworking us, and they take all of these things and they capitalize off of it. They monetize it, and even when they're on here debating, can men be women? Religion, whatever it is, what I'm saying, Kyle Rittenhouse, what I'm saying, because that's another thing, they that boy went out there and he did more than I did, what I'm saying, he took out other two white people, what I'm saying, but the point is, they are outworking us, and they use these platforms not only to monetize, but they already have their system, but we are the ones that's complaining about it, and we are doing nothing but contributing to it and making them more and more money, and I'm including myself. I'm really talking to me and everybody else, So if Melanated God is good, we're gonna go to the next part.
Hey, just one quick thing on what you said, right? Forecast.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have to go to Black platforms, and shameless plug, but I manage a Black-owned platform. It's actually the platform that was out there, and I didn't even know this. This sister had her stuff together before StreamYards even came around. A lot of these, I guess you would say, like video companies that people use to do their streaming technology or their podcast. This sister had this stuff for years before any of these companies ever came around. And so I'm just blessed to be able to manage this for her. But of course, it's on the wakeupradio.com. MG2, if you were to go there right now, I have United Front music playing on there. It's been playing for about 3 days now because I forgot to put something else up on the stream. But like I told Forecast during his last stream that, I'm getting I'm building playlists from YouTube. I want to get you guys' material in there, find ways to be able to freely rip it from YouTube, or even if y'all want to send me your data files. Like I just put it all up in the rotation. Like I that's free of charge. That's me promoting you because you're putting something out that's going to benefit our people.
Um, yeah, for sure. That thing is straight freezing up now. All right. Uh, hopefully I can get through the rest because now it's like messing up bad. But because I was about to
Because we
wrap
talk
it up
about black
soon
economics
anyway.
now. We talking about nation building, and all of a sudden things got to act crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully they share because we kind of off. And by the way, shouts out to Consider in the building. Y'all subscribe to Consider channel because she definitely be talking about the truth and she's a real one. Damn, like yeah, I don't even think this joint is coming up no more now. Like it's crazy right now. Because I was gonna show other things to show how, what I'm saying, we get outworked. But it's definitely not even working now at all. Um, so let me do this. All right, I'll just tell you, so the next thing, because we was talking about like, them outworking us. And it's not just these things, it's like with the school program too, because I often talk about people like Steve Bannon, how they put money, finances, resources, they had a plan, they had a group, and they said, well, we're gonna take this one step at a time and attack the school board. And we know that the school and how they educate us to be consumers, what I'm saying? That's a part of it. And if anybody needs to control the school system and all of that, it is us because we don't, we are being controlled. We are being taught to be these things, to be just, yeah, it's all intentional, and we are being taught to like be these consumers to just soak up their stuff. And we do nothing but make them millionaires. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna let y'all just melanated goddess. You want to say something? Because I don't think I'm gonna be able to show the rest of it because it's really not working no more. Um, I don't know if melanated god is still there. MD2, you want to say something? Because it's not even gonna pull up. Like it's crazy. But yeah, MD2, you want to say something? Because my thing messing
He
up.
just
So I
dropped
can't
off.
play it.
MG2 just dropped off.
Oh, MD2. All right.
Yeah,
Damn.
maybe he's
All
gonna
right.
come back in.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm
Mel-
sorry. I missed what you were saying. Before you
no,
asked me to say something.
no, I was just saying like because the next thing I wanted to show was like Steve Bannon and how they work hard and how they created the school system, how they went after the curriculums that we have now. When you see a lot of the stuff that we see now, but what they said was their plan was to put together, like get people in different states to run just for the school board. They said we got to take it one step at a time, and right now we got to attack the school board, and so that's what they did as a group of people, and they raised thousands of dollars and they supported other candidates to be in these offices. And it's not just like with OnlyFans, Facebook, YouTube, none of this stuff. It's the things that we know we need as far as like the school system and stuff like that. They are outworking us in that area too. So do you got any opinions on that?
I mean, I'm all for any form of like positive organization. You know, what I mean, without me like looking real deep into it. I mean, all I can say is that I just hope that whatever it is that they represent, I represent. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh, I forgot what that term where it was like you're a segment of the community, but then you're like, I don't know if it's multi segmentation or I forgot what the term is, but there's this that element, you know, that represents that exists, I should say. And sometimes they are very vocal. So for myself, off of GP, like off of knowing forecast, I'm like, all right, you know, whatever it is that he's talking about, like if it's on some black family stuff, hey, I would assume I'm down with it. You know what I mean? But there's been so much crazy shit coming up. I'm like, I don't know. So like I gotta know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. That we're in this place where sometimes you know I'm agreeing to this they stuff and this you know them and all this other stuff. So I hope I'm understood.
No, yeah. I definitely feel you. I definitely feel you. I'm definitely not gonna be able to show the rest of this stuff because it's not even coming up at all. It will usually come up by now. But MG2, you want to say something? Because there's one more thing I wanted to show, but it's not gonna work.
Yeah. I have to say this much, brother Forecast. Kudos to Steve Bannon. Man, I got to give him props. And I got to give all them folks props, especially Trump, because they know the game. Again, it's about value. They know exactly that it's not about how you feel, how you look, what you think, what you want others to look at you as. They got shit done. Excuse my language, ladies. I don't like to cuss when you're around, but I got to be real. They got stuff done. See, Steve Bannon says, hey, if I work through this so-called education system, maybe I'll have a Ron DeSantis or a Ramaswamy or a Glenn Youngkin that'll go ahead and change things for you. He didn't do it just because he hated you. He's doing it for cash, of course. But the thing is they used something as a weapon or a tool. Unfortunately, it's been used against us. And that's that thing that we idealize called education system. And, you know, I got to send my son to college and do this, and we got to do the right thing and this and that and the other. Brother Forecast, as Black Maga said earlier, you spoke it into existence. When he said bring in that kind of energy too, you just spoke the solution into existence. The fact that you mentioned what Steve Bannon did gave you the solution. And I'm thankful for Black Magas for saying that earlier. Basically what I'm saying, you got Khan Academy, Udemy, you've got all these different, you know, Brilliant.com and everyone else who's creating their own schools, and there's not even a building in sight because they're shaping a narrative to shape minds to go ahead and learn things they want them to learn. It's that simple. My sister homeschooled her son, and he's a genius right now at 19. So it's not like it can't be done, you know, clearly because Steve Bannon knows the game. What he did, no different. That's why I said I got to give him props. You know, I got to give him a shout out too. He's my enemy. Yes. He's my competitor. Yes. I can't wait for Steve Bannon to fertilize my orange grove, and I don't even have one, but I'll buy one just to do that. The thing is I have to go ahead and admire those who know competition and know how to win at all costs. The thing about these folks, whether they're in office in Virginia or whether they're in office in Tennessee, it doesn't matter. They're facilitating something for their needs, for their collective, for their species. I don't call them people, I'll say species. And I can't get mad at that. All I could say is, okay, now I have a winning strategy. What do? You get your numbers up of like minds who have like finance, who have like, at least if not like finance, have like objectives. And you go ahead and get things done. So you own the schools. So you know your teachers that are in there are not going to teach you that Christopher Columbus was, you know, he was part of the RBG movement and him and Malcolm X were friends. Clearly, that's what, you know, Ron DeSantis wants you to believe. You'll have the teachers that'll go ahead and teach you about Robert F. Williams, that'll teach you about Didan Kimathi, Khalid Muhammad. You'll have the schools and the institutions that you create for yourself to create your agenda that will also fold over to what businesses you shop at, will fold over to what judges you go ahead and put in office, what police that aren't going to go ahead and hit you over the head because of the fact that they're like those 5 Memphis officers that killed Tyree Nichols. You'll be able to go ahead and make your agenda. So therefore, you don't have to worry, as Brother Magus was talking about earlier, about working out and these folks getting diesel. Shoot, I just finished a workout like 4 or 5 hours ago. You don't have to worry about that because you're not going to end up like Jordan Neely getting choked out on a train because someone has better MMA skills than you. See, this is what you teach when you create your own agenda. You think that Steve Bannon is not thinking the same way for his white nationalists? Oh, I guarantee you they are. That's why you see them out there jogging, running, and learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because it's not just about the education of children. It's about controlling a society that you're losing control in. And that's what these Peckerwoods are all about. Hopefully, Brother Forecast, if anything, anybody learns from my voice, it's not about how you live, how you think, how others look at you, how you want to look or whatever. It's about, do you want to win? And when I say, do you want to win, even if you have to give your life to win or kill somebody to get it, how bad do you really want it? Black folks, Brother Forecast, live in 1 foot in heaven and 1 foot in hell. I mentioned it over in the other broadcast. Here's what I mean. We talk about black nationalism and black pride and, Hotep and black finance and, we're going to teach you stocks and this and that and the other. Hey, that's nice. It's cute. It feels good. Makes you feel good. So does another activity that happens when you watch OnlyFans. I don't want to get crude. But at the end of the day, does it produce results? How can you fight a revolution when you're depending on the individuals that you're fighting? Okay, I mean, as Bruce Lee said in Enter the Dragon, the fighting without fighting. We're not even doing that. We live in 1 foot in heaven and 1 foot in hell by depending on the same individuals that we should be killing. I don't care if it's financially dependent, emotionally dependent, spiritually dependent in these churches, or even the food you eat or the gas you put in your car. For some odd reason, we have to go to the same individuals we want to shoot, but ask them for bullets. The bottom line is, sooner or later, you're going to have to end up and start thinking like Steve Bannon, who definitely wants to make his own bullets. No different than those in January 6th. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah. Let me first off say to Melanated Goddess, don't ever feel down on yourself. Don't never beat yourself up. This society wants you that way. That way, you never think about fighting them, because sometimes our people just beat themselves down too much. It is because of our lack of knowledge, and for many of us, it is the lack of wanting to attain knowledge that keep us in stagnant places in our lives, and that's what creates us into these bitter puppets who live vicariously through others' success. Don't beat yourself down. Never do it, because they beat down on us hard enough as is. And I will also say that, just to something you were saying earlier, and I've said this before, is that when we understand that we're fighting this war if we just use the 9 areas of people activity, I know some people like to say 10, then we have to understand that there's always a contingent of us who are fighting in one of those areas of people activity. And sometimes we don't know about the others who are fighting it on a different level. Like, I don't know who's fighting it on the spiritual level. I don't know who's seriously fighting it on the economic level. I just know that there are people who are doing it. And so while it is my job to uphold the way that I'm choosing to go about it, it's not until I become a general do I rank up, and now I need to branch out and learn about one of those other different aspects so that I get a broader understanding, because I need to now lead troops. That's what we organize for. That is the entire purpose of an organization. It's to build with like-minded people. The problem is that we see no reason to be, and I say we, but I really mean the masses, see no reason to build upon anything, because we overactively partake in the narratives of others, whereas our enemies, they can practice something, and that is exactly it. They're practicing it. The one thing that they are savages. They're not practicing in that aspect. They've just changed the way on how they're being savage. Because even when we look around the world at the atrocities that are going on, we can always pinpoint somewhere in the history of that land mass where someone of European descent did something that caused a chain reaction. That's what the word systemic stands for. I don't care what some people like American First Rifleman would say, so we gonna blame them for everything. I am always gonna blame them for everything, because guess what? None of us can do. We can't imagine a world where we never came out of our native lands. I can accept that there were some native black people here. Granted, they still migrated here from Africa, but we can't imagine our worlds untouched by the savagery of this beast. And because of that, you have to think of what kind of fractured psyche that even creates in us. So we all are out here fighting for some sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a heaven, but some sort of sanctity within the realm that we're going for. So I believe in fighting for the land. So that's what I'm going to do. And in order to fight for the land, as MG2 just said, hey, I need a couple of people to water my ground, you know, be the fertilizer. That's just what it is. But it might be your job to do it on a spiritual level. We know Forecast is doing it here, and as I tell him, I believe his path is to be a historian by the way that he put things together and the way that he relays the information. There are going to be others who understand the way that he's putting the information together, and they're going to gravitate towards him. So in essence, even if we look at what are called 5%ers, I don't know what the official way of life for those people are, but the way that I understand it to be is that there's only going to be a certain group of us, a certain percentage of us as a group who get it, who understand, and we're not going to fall. Even when you look at these so-called vaccinations, how many of our people are still to this day, especially with things being pushed that we might be wearing masks by the end of this month, might be on lockdowns by next month. And so now the narrative is being pushed again. And I just watched a sister take her look like no more than 4-year-old daughter, and she's happy about it. She took a 4-year-old daughter to go get a shot. And it's like, how mentally sick are we? Well, guess what? There's only going to be a certain percentage of us who get it anyway. And so that helps us with moving forward, because we know all of our people will not be saved. Garvey didn't try to save all our people. Harriet Tubman did not try to save all of our people. Booker T. Washington did not try to save us. That's what we have to understand, that those who put in the work, Martin Delaney, Toussaint Louverture, Bookmont Duddy, they never tried to save everybody. That's the one thing we don't understand, is that no one ever tried to save anyone. They tried to save those who understood the mission and those who needed the help to get to where they were. That is it. And at the end of the day, that's what we're going to have.
Yeah, and let me say this, because I didn't mean to be on here this long, but it's what y'all saying. And when MD2 said, "Yo, what are you willing to do?" Yesterday, I was watching an interview with Robert Townsend, and it made me go back and watch Hollywood Shuffle again, right? But he was like, "Yo, when I made this movie, I took the money that I saved, I put all the money into it, you know what I'm saying? But then I just used credit cards and stuff like that to finish it." Because I knew that I couldn't go through somebody else, because, they was like, "Hey, job sucker," you know what I'm saying? That's the way you had to talk back then. And so instead of doing that, he just created his own lane. Now, I'm not saying whatever about Robert Townsend. I'm just saying particularly this event. And even then, there was black people then like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna work with this brother because I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know this, I don't know that." You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you willing to do to accomplish your goals? And if you're not willing to do everything to accomplish your goals, you may not. Like, even when we talk about, like, when we talk about the water thing, like, are you going overseas? Are you exhausting every possible thing that you can exhaust, and then do it again? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's going to take. All right, yo, let me show these last things, because I didn't mean to be on here, but this was a good conversation, and I think a Black Megas MV2. Shouts out to Melanated Goddess. Y'all see, I ain't got the Steve Bannon thing where they were saying they're playing, because that's what stalled me out. But he was like, he was like, gladiator school to bolster Europeans' right wing. That was just another thing I was gonna play. But I don't know if y'all seen this sister here. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much.
No, this is the wrong one. This is a video of the sister getting beat up in the store by a Asian boy.
Yes, I have direct contact with somebody who's on the ground there.
Yeah, it's in UK or something, right? Or I just say England.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's in London.
Yeah, in London. So yeah, they beat up the sister here. Now, the thing is, see this white chick here with her quote unquote anti-blackness, you know what I'm saying, from what the title says, but she, you know, she's a regular white bitch, but she's monetizing this and brought the dude on to interview him about it, you know, and I can't play it.
So whatever you want, I can do that one.
Whatever you want, I can do that one. Y'all can understand what he's like, you know, that I just wanted to choke a black woman, you know how he's just missing a dot. But yo, MG2, you got something to say about that?
They're doing what's natural. I'm not mad at them. They do what they're supposed to. They're in a chess game for life. And I'm like, hey, okay, this is what you do. This is what I expect. If I saw a little Peckerwood bitch with a little East Indian curry eater saying something like, well, you know, we were wrong, and we think that the Windrush people should get money, and matter of fact, we're going to pay them off, and I'm going to go and bring that black woman here and pay her off too. If I saw that, Brother Forecast, I'd probably shoot myself, because that's not supposed to be. It's like expecting the sun to rise in the west. It doesn't happen. I expect a skunk to stink, a roach to be filthy, and a rat to bring disease. And I expect, whether it's an Asian or a little Karen, to bring him on to talk about how well he beat up a black woman. I expect that. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to jump off the building. Because the thing is it's up to us to recognize war, not up to us to recognize and looking for someone else to not recognize that they're in war with us. It is up to us to recognize, hey, we've got some lives to take, not ours, but those that we're competing against. And so, yeah, you know, what they're doing to me is natural. If they did anything different, it would scare me. I'll pass the mic, Brother Forecast.
Yeah. That's I expect.
Yeah, I just want to give the clarity of the story. Because of course our people, oh, maybe she stole. No, the sister was not satisfied with the price that she paid for her product. She asked for a refund, and this curry goat smelling bastard, of course, took issue with that, and then proceeded to try to kick her out of the store. But as you can see, she's trying to, you know, I mean, again, she wants the refund. She wants her money back. She's been, as we always see, you know, these people are stealing the money. And so that's when she, in self-defense, because he has his hands on her, she swings the hand basket behind her to hit him upside the head, which reactionarily, I would say, caused him to choke her. And he choked her for about, I say, maybe 2.5 seconds, and then he went back to just restraining her. Now, I just want to say, I'm not sitting here and giving this guy any kind of shout out, except for in the sense that he had self-control, because he didn't lose all sense of self. He didn't kill this sister. He choked her. Like I said, she hit him with the basket, so it looked like it was definitely reactionary, just a defense. He choked her for maybe 2.5 seconds and then released her and went back to just subduing her.
Brother Magus, real quick, I think the reason he didn't kill her is because the cameras were on, and I don't think that he had the right shot that he needed, like Derek Chauvin. I think if that camera wasn't there, she'd be dead.
I understand what you're saying on that one, but the protests and everything happened today, and it was the same thing like we see here, a Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton rally. Let's take pictures and pose in front of the store for white cameras. That's all that happened. The people, the residents there are pissed. at the type of activism that came. So it looks like it's the same kind of stuff that could have happened here. To me, it looks more like he just caught himself, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so real quick, now I don't know if y'all remember this. This white chick went to Uganda acting like a doctor, and hundreds.
This one hurt my heart. This one hurt my heart. Ooh.
Yeah,
I've seen this one.
Mm-hmm. And the only reason I'm bringing it up now is because they're making a HBO documentary. Like they're capitalized. Like when I be showing these videos, they show advertisements and commercials. Like you be like, yeah, this little boy just got shot in the face, and then the commercial come on. Yeah, have you went to McDonald's today? You know what I'm saying? Like type stuff, and they capitalize on everything. And this chick here, you know what I'm saying? She went on a nonprofit thing. And so she used this nonprofit as an evangelical missionary and used the nonprofit that she did to act like a doctor to kill all of these children. And I don't think, and she's not in jail. I don't think, I don't know what's going on. But so she set up this nonprofit to do this. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. Like now, even when I mention the nonprofits, like, it's to be like, to help us in any and every way, because everybody else is using any and everything. They're working harder than us to destroy us than we are to stay alive. You know what I'm saying? But MGC, I don't know if you remember this story about this chick, but they got this coming out on HBO now.
Yes, I expect it. I expect it no different than I expect a postcard in a lynching, because that's all lynchings were postcards. It's no different than the video of George Floyd, a postcard. No different than Philando Castile's murder, a postcard. HBO celebritizing and glorifying what happened to a bunch of black children is a postcard. It's a way of saying, look what we can do to them, and we'll do it every day, because they're too busy watching each other debate on social media to do anything about it. This is how the enemy is very successful. They're successful not because of what they do, it's because of what we don't do to them. It's a very simple thing, as Dr. Kamal Kambon said, a very simple solution to that problem. And it's not kumbaya. It's not rationalizing or asking for reparations. Dr. Bobby E. Wright said it. Blood debts must be paid in blood. Not by HBO telling us, well, we're going to do a documentary as a postcard to show how we could easily kill you by displaying ourselves and pretending to be doctors. Brother Forecast, this ain't the first time that happened. Somebody pretended to be a preacher back in 1980 and killed over 1,000 of us. It would just so happen in Guyana. So the thing is it's like, it's no different. I expect it. The thing is our unfortunate aspect of being apathetic, nonplussed, naive, Pollyannish, self-hating, braggadocious, inept, unintelligent. The ability. Voyeuristic. I'm sorry.
Saying voyeuristic.
Oh, very. Oh man, voyeuristic is our religion. One word, Instagram. It's the unfortunate aspect of us not recognizing that we're at war. I've never seen in a battle a soldier get over there and twerk and show how well his twerking skills are with an AK in the middle of being in a Bakhmut or something. You don't see these Ukrainians saying, "Hey, I'm a twerk right now," while Russians are sending bombs to us. No, and that's that voyeuristic mentality. We're in the middle of battle, even if it's just watching Deion Sanders. We just don't recognize the battle. So therefore, we have casualties like these young children, like the 1,000 folks in Guyana. Casualties like 3 black folks at a Dollar General last month, 2 weeks ago. Like casualties, like what happened in a church on June 15th in 2016. Casualties, like what happened. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, so the thing is yes, I saw that, Brother Forecast. I expected it. The unfortunate thing is I think that we've normalized it to where it's like, look what they're doing to us again. Oh, well, let's go back to the plantation. It doesn't have to be that way, black folk. It really doesn't. If you knew your value, if you're not scared to go all in. In my trading and whatnot, Brother Forecast, I went all in. I put all the chips on the table and said,
Hey, yeah, definitely.
Abibi Fohodia.
I appreciate MG2 coming on here, and I was going to ask MG2, how many mass shootings of black people in the last 10 years, but Black Magus, you got, you want to say something? I'm going to show the last thing. Did you go out? Did you go out already?
Say that again?
Yeah, I'm saying, did you want to say something?
Of course, there's so much that could be said when you're building off of things that others are saying, and it just keeps the conversation going. But I know you wanted to keep the time down, so I'll let you go ahead before we get to the closeout.
Yeah, it's all good. This is the last one right here. Now I am gonna play this one. I don't know if you've seen this, right? So the hospital stole a stillborn baby from a black family, you know what I'm saying, and then the police was in the hospital, but they called them in there when they had to come and talk to them. And I'm showing this. I usually go off on a positive thing, but we got Outworked, so there isn't that much positive out there. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's from day -1. You know what I'm saying? You are already under attack. Because they wanted to do experiments on this baby, like according to their family.
Some people out there don't like to have the conversation about racial bias in the medical field, but this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about when I say that. Park Ridge Medical Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee, effed up. A 17-year-old black girl went into labor early and ended up giving birth to a stillborn baby. Now, they tried to pressure this young girl into donating her baby's body to science. Both the mother and the mother's mother said no to this. They had arranged for the funeral home to come pick up the baby boy. The stillborn was then sent off to the pathology department without their consent. And before they even told the family where the baby's body was, and before they even told this family anything, they called in the police that were in the hospital taking care of another case.
Okay, but I'm upset too because it's my child. You know what I'm saying? I completely understand. So our house supervisor is on her way down to speak to you guys. She will be heading to a few minutes. I want to put you guys in a private place so that you have a place where you can have some private.
It don't even have to be a private place. We just want the baby. The baby should have never left the hospital. Why y'all got these people following you around who they know what y'all have done? My grandbaby is not in this hospital. She just had a baby. And the baby was too early. And the funeral home was coming over here to pick up the baby because we didn't sign off for no papers for the baby to go nowhere. We came over here, the funeral home called to pick up the baby, and the baby is not even here. They done sent the baby to pathology without nobody's consent to go be a lab rat. Like he was nobody. His name was Uriah, and that's not right. That's not right.
And people who have never experienced this and having racial bias are...
All right, we don't need that white bitch, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so and I want you to say this real quick, and I want to pass it to you. when it comes to this, right? No matter what they say, no matter what they do, if they argue, if they get along, all that, they have their own hospitals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how we can't expect, like, yeah, of course they're not going to teach your children. They don't even teach their own children the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, or facts. You know what I'm saying about history. They propagate it and make them, quote unquote, whatever citizens of whatever country they are. The problem is we, instead of being like, yo, represent our own stuff, you know what I'm saying? We'd be like, I'm American, and Olympics, you know, save it for Olympics. You'd be like, you wear the American joint, you wear the French joint, you wear the German joint, you wear the British joint. We don't wear our own. They have their own hospitals, and they can use all of these resources, and they do, you know what I'm saying? And no matter what, they got their own hospitals, schools, and all of that. So until we do that, you know what I'm saying, until we work hard enough to achieve these things and support the people out there working hard doing it, you know, Black Megas support, you know what I'm saying, a sister who's doing it, you know what I'm saying, and even with his own children, you know what I'm saying, like, that's the only way, you know what I'm saying. Well, if we don't do that, then we might, like, it's not complaining, it's just I'm gonna keep saying the same thing until you is ready to turn up and be like, you know, because look, if I jump into a swamp, I'm not gonna expect the alligator not to bite me. I'm gonna just prepare myself and have whatever it is that protects against alligators, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, you know, blood of the Black Magus.
For no papers.
You gotta give me one more minute, man, because when it comes to stillborns, give me 1 minute.
Yeah, definitely a stillborn baby, but it's not new, bro. Like, there's they cut. So we know stories about they cut the baby out of the woman and stomped the head. They stomped the head this time, so they're progressive. That's what you don't even realize is how psychopathic it is, bro. They ain't stop on the head. This is an improvement for them. You know what I'm saying? That's the point. You know, what can we say though? You know. But
All right, so you know, the greatest gift that I have, I've been told, when it comes to me speaking or orating things, is my ability to be very charismatic and genuine. And so that's the only way I know how to be. So forgive me for sharing my personal information, but it is experience that we pass on to others so that they get the wherewithal on, you know, things that you've gone through. They can see the pitfalls before it, you know, they're even up on it. um Me and my wife, we have 13 pregnancies. We have 4 children. My first son was murdered by this industry called Western medicine. I'm gonna be very vague because one thing that will get your channel striked is using any kind of medical jargon. Um, so I'll do the best that I can to say these things without using any direct like words for types of stuff. Um, because of the way that Western medicine treats high risk women, especially black women, they tend to put them on medications, um, just like anybody else, regardless of what some side effects are, especially if you're going to a teaching hospital. Um, then a lot of times some things are just trial and error. Not to mention, a lot of this stuff is just, hey, this company is paying us to use their product, push it out to as many people as you can. I wish I had the website off the top of my head and I would put it in the chat, but there's a website you can go to. You can enter in any medical doctor's name and you'll pull up all their data on what companies they actually push products for, and you can see how much money they've received from that company, because there's a law called the butterfly law, I believe it is, which is a federal law which necessitates that this is not private records. It's open to the public. You just have to go to the website to find it. um So it really was like my wife was a test dummy for something that is still being pushed in this hospital to this day on pregnant women. So when it comes to stillborn children, um, that's a very sensitive topic for me because there is no such thing. What happens is that these children are being the mothers are being test dummies for stuff. Um, also, I don't know. Maybe this sister actually received the CV-19 jab. Which is going to cause stillborn. A lot of I'm talking to a lot of people personally and those not personally known to me who are all talking about the same issue that they're just stillborns. Um, Literally 2 weeks ago, a good friend of mine, his daughter, stillborn. This is real stuff that's happening, and the one thing they all have in common is that they got that jab. Um, we have to do better as a group of people. This is why I am not as serious in race work as I am, and those who know me tell me about how serious I am. But I know I could be more serious. But you know what holds me back? It is the fact that I have to still maintain a job. I still have to depend on these people for something because my idea for my own business is different. The way I'm trying to go about even doing it, because every time I'm looking at, and this is not me putting out anybody's business, but I know of a few people who do homeschool programs, and a lot of them are finding themselves have to go back to a 9 to 5 because you have to realize your business, the money that generates, you have to pay yourself off of that. And so some of these people are out here for the community. They're not paying themselves. They're keeping their operations going, and they're finding themselves back at 9 to 5s, which is going to hurt the program because our people aren't supporting it. It's the same thing with independent black radio. It's the same thing with on the wake up radio. It's the same thing with our race soldiers who are out here doing the work for us. Like, if we cannot fund our own revolution, then we are sadly mistaken to think that somebody else is going to come save us. When I look at this story here, there is a shining light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to our history with this hospital, because our last son, who we just had about 4 months back, we still had to go to this hospital only as a backup. But see, what we did is we went in there with a bill of rights. This is something that they don't tell our women about. This is something that that black people don't even think about, that whenever you step into any kind of establishment, then believe that you are stepping onto a battlefield, and that battlefield, you're going there to obtain something. They're there to protect it. And even when you're trying to go in there to have your child, well, guess what? Hospital protocol is we got to make this money by pushing these things because that's how we stay in business. So you have to have your paperwork that says you can't do this, you can't do this, I won't do this. And if you take my child out of this room, then it is kidnapping. You literally have to have this in paperwork written down, and you can't go to a private hospital. You can only go to a general hospital, public hospital, to get this stuff done, because private hospital just will say, well, sorry, we can't have you as a patient here. See, they can't turn you away if you walk in the emergency room. Oh, baby is coming. Oh, here goes my bill of rights. So there's a way to get by it if you want to go to your to your private hospital. But just know, you need to make sure they accept your paperwork, they put your paperwork on file, and that they adhere to your paperwork, which is something that you might not be able to pay attention to, because now everything is in a rush, and they're going to do everything that they possibly can and say, oh, sorry, we didn't know, which is pretty much the same thing in this situation here. Oh, sorry, we didn't know that that's what you wanted. the hospital has protocol, especially when it comes to whoever they do business with. This hospital, oh, I would say all hospitals really, and that's why I said it before. Look up what you're eating. If you're eating these franken foods that have Cenomix in it, Senomyx, Cenomix, that is a derivative food. It's not food, but it's dead babies. They're chopping them up and putting them into food items. It's in all of Lay's potato chips. It's in all of Pepsi Cola. It's in Kraft macaroni and cheese. It's in so many products. You see, they're feeding us ourselves, and you don't understand what that's doing to your brain. That's why it's easy to fall into this savage mindset. These people are so ingrained and so evil that we can't even fathom how evil they are because we're so dependent upon a system. And because that, there's certain pieces of work that I cannot watch, I cannot read, because it's going to enrage me to the point where I'm done. Like I'm walking out here with the arsenal I got, and I'm taking some of them down with me, which would be definitely a selfish thing because I didn't set anything up for my family. I still have family who need to be taken care of. Yeah, anybody can do it. That's why we praise Cosmo September and Mike Xavier Johnson for doing what they did, young in their age, no family. The family that they have now are us who remember them for what they did. Those are race warriors. We got to get up off our asses and we got to stop playing around. I don't talk like this too often on here, but we in serious trouble if we think the world is going back to 2019. They showed us they will put the globe on lockdown and then force us to take something that we do not want. If you don't want to get your Bill of Rights down, well, at least go get your dang on firearms and let's go at it.
Yo, I'll say this, Black Maggots, right? The thing is, you're supposed to be that mad. If we even wake up every day and realize the situation you in, if you something wrong with you, if you're not that mad, and like you said, and first of all, I should have said, first of all, I'm sorry for all of that stuff that you were saying, but like what you was like mentioning Michael Johnson and all of that, now we need more brothers like that. But like I said, there's a suicide mission and then there's a martyr. You know what I'm saying? The suicide mission, you ain't changing nothing. You need that energy because it just goes with organization and planning. This is what, like, people in their military don't even have that anger. They don't even have that for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And they can still go in there to obtain whatever resource. And the resource of our life is the most valuable thing. And what you said with the Bill of Rights, you know what I'm saying, or going into the hospital, you want an emergency room, like, I agree with that, But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, like, it's still like, and this is where, because I'm not a doctor, I don't even know nobody who's trying to do whatever to open up a hospital. I talked about a few brothers who have done it, but I don't know nobody who to even support to even do that, which is even crazier because like they are who they are. Like they don't even respect their own laws themselves. You know what I'm saying? You don't trust them with what they could do when you take the baby away. And then that's not even talk, and then like the personal part, you know what I'm saying, like who's in the hospital, who caring for them, like what they could do to them. But then the system part of it, like you was even mentioning, like I'm scared for my mom to go to the hospital or to the doctor or whatever. My mother just passed away, Friday, you know what I'm saying, and she didn't even have a funeral. She was good, went to the doctor, and they was ready to send her home a few days ago because of insurance and stuff like that. And she couldn't even like walk, and she couldn't talk. Like her stuff was kind of shutting down. You know what I'm saying? And like, when my father went into the hospital, You know what I'm saying? Like they put the stuff on them wrong and all of that stuff. Even when you go into that stuff, and we don't have no excuse because we talk about Marcus Garvey all the time, but they had hospitals then. You don't see there's a difference where you at. We ain't even in the same communities, which is a good thing as far as the bombings and stuff, but we don't have community no more. That's the worst part of it. And it is what it is, you know. And they had hospitals because they knew, look who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you do have a, like, because I can't say to like do whatever you want to do, and I know if we get hurt you go to the hospital and stuff like that, but that's our fault. That's why they're outworking us. You know what I'm saying? Because like I wouldn't even trust to have a baby in the hospital. Like you have to keep an eye 24/7, and even then you don't know what they sticking in you unless you be whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that. But the whole point is, you know, because even like, you know, and like I said again, you know, like with those, I'm sorry, and you know, like with your family, you know what I'm saying, like that is one of the biggest fears because like, you know, like that's what they do. Like they barely care about their babies, you know what I'm saying? Like let alone somebody without a lot of money. Like here, I don't know how it is in other cities. Here most black people go to like the community hospital, which is like which used to be upstanding areas, but now it's like projects and stuff there, and there's a community there. You go to MCV, which is students operating on you pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Or you go to like the one that's in like Southside, but you don't want to go to none of those. You want to go to like doctors in the counties, you know what I'm saying, like Henrico doctors and stuff like that, you know. But a lot of people don't have an insurance. Like it's just a dirty game. But you know who we don't like, and that's the thing. Like nothing has changed from 1912 to now, and except for what we own and what we have, you know what I'm saying. But you know, I ain't mean to go on that long rant though. My brother, yo, you got something to say though?
Nah, trust me, I know what you're trying to say, right? Because it goes back to the root of the topic for today. Is just that they outbeat us in these things. You know, if you look at okay, a big hospital out here is Saint Joe's and Jewish can't remember the full name of it, but it's called Jewish something, which sits right on the outskirts of the Jewish part of that of Denver. But of course, everybody goes there, and so because everybody goes there, nobody is literally thinking that, oh, the Jewish people are definitely getting different treatment than we're getting. And why is that? Because it's integrated, right? Like during integration, you couldn't go into their hospitals. Hey, we don't see your kind here. You need to go someplace else. And that's how it was. Well, now, well, hell, we just got a big enough building, big enough rooms. We're going to treat you different than we treat the other person. And we know that happens because in every hospital in the United States, what do we see? Disparaging numbers of treatment of how our sisters are treated. Case in point with this video you just showed versus how Becky right next door could be treated differently. I work at a hospital, so I see this stuff. I talk to the nursing staff. They talk about this stuff. And guess what? I don't care what old antiquated way of thinking you have to think that you can send your child to an institution that is going to pump in the positiveness in them, and then it's going to churn out black sovereignty. Well, if this institution has been up for over 70 years and we're still trying to do that, then we just look like fools. And it's not to call anybody who thinks that way foolish. They just have old antiquated ways of thinking, and they have become obsolete in that way. That's what the long-term strategic plan is about. It's a 100-year plan, something that I've never seen before. They talk about it thoroughly in in the executive summary about how there have been plans that people have put together. So you can read about that in there. But this plan here is all encompassing of all areas, and you know what it teaches? is that if we're going to get any of this stuff, then we have to fund it ourselves. So that's all I got, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, yeah, I'm trying to bring up the IG joint to put in there. Can you put it in the chat again? Your IG channel. I was
Yeah, I'll
trying to
put it in
bring it
there.
up. Yeah. Y'all definitely support my brother. You know what I'm saying? And when he go live, I'll be checking it out. I can't comment sometimes because I'll be doing stuff, but I'll be checking it out though. You know, but yeah, bro, I know what you're saying. Like, yo, of course nobody who is going to what would you do that? You know what I'm saying? If you was running the country, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll just let them do whatever themselves and you know what I'm saying, figure it. No, you know what I'm saying? And you know what it's about? The resources. Can you feed yourself? Like we need the resources to sustain ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And we have the resources. We just give them away. We don't value them. And other people outwork us. You know what I'm saying? They running around the block at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting in shape. They are out there copping guns and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They practice their quote unquote First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, whatever. You know, it's this mindset, you know what I'm saying? Because like, yeah, they're never gonna change. They are the same people who have done experiments, you know what I'm saying? They probably always gonna do experiments, even if it's on each other. They hated on each other because like one of them had red hair and one of them didn't, you know what I'm saying? And that's what they did to each other. Like, why would you trust them in any aspect of life? Like, a deer is not going to walk to a lion, like, please help me. And even if the lion said, yo, I love you, welcome to the tribe, here's some flowers and candies and cupcake, you still can't eat the food they eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, a deer can't eat raw meat. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah, they you know, one of those books that I'm talking about that I just can't stomach to read is Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. I have it on my shelf. I've did a couple of readings on Instagram of it. But it just goes into that deep darkness of the medical industry and how they've used us as their guinea pigs the entire time. You know,
Yeah.
they have no medical advancements. They just have mutilation that they've perfected. And now we see they're trying new mutilation tactics on our youngest, our children, the babies, with this whole LGBT crap. You know what? The only LGBT I support is Let's Go Bomb. I can't say the word because it will definitely get this pulled down. But let's just say it's the capital city of the place they call Israel.
Yeah, but you know, that's the thing, my brother. It's not about killing the Michael Johnson spirit in you. It's about organizing it to do everything that's effective to do it. And that's the whole point for us to not down that like that's a human emotion. Like like listen, don't be controlled by your emotions, but use them to your advantage. And yeah, man. Yo,
No,
so
you know
yeah.
what though? That's why I said though I tend to not get um that mad during conversations. But of course, when I'm talking about the direct death of a family member by them, of course that's going to hit me a little bit hard.
Oh yeah. I ain't talking about
Um,
that. Yeah, definitely. I
but
ain't talking about that.
but you know, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, and it took me a long time to understand this. She told us, "Don't hate these people. What are we hating them for?" And that's why when you hear me talk, and even when I'm talking about what it is we need to do, I do not talk with hate. Nobody can tell me that I spread hate. Nobody. Because I don't have time to hate my enemy. If I'm hating my enemy, I'm putting too much time, too much focus. I'm causing stress on my body. I'm taking years off my life. I'm being mad. I'm being grumpy, irritable when I'm around them. So therefore, I can't hold down a job when I'm around them. They're going to fire me because of my attitude. Having hatred for these people will lead to all kinds of different things that will actually bring about your own destruction. And the best way I could put it is when I seen you know, the spook who sat by the door, because that's what he was talking to the light skinned person, and he was like, I hate white folk. And and you know, the brother just jumped on him. He was like, it ain't about hate. You got to have something more than hate. You got to have the love, the will to want to survive, to live. That has to be stronger than anything else. And therefore, you will tear down anything and anyone who gets in your way of your freedom. That's what they do. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. Like, I would say this though, like as far as that, like, yo, I hate the situation that I'm in, bro. Like, enough to do, like, what I'm saying, whatever it takes to get it done, not just to do like anything and then don't get it done. Yo, like, I hate the situation, like, not being able to control stuff, like having to be a part of it, like, because even when you like go, I'm gonna say without, like, what I'm saying. That's why it's like for me, like, and I'm not saying like you per se, because when I'm saying this, I'm like, when black people be like, oh yeah, well, I'm not talking about, because you hear black people, oh, we always got to say I love everybody. We don't have to do that. You don't have to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just for the people who be like people of color and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, I hate the situation I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Enough to do it. Like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say for me, like the best way I could put it, like, yeah, I want my stuff to like build and grow. Like, yeah, I definitely love what from us is the important thing. We know that, you know what I'm saying? But I can't act like, you know what I'm saying, if their stuff is not funny to me, if something happened, but like, do it, like, yo, yeah, I hate the situation that I'm in, and I would do anything to make sure that we are able to maintain sovereignty, you know what I'm saying? And I think we should use all of the emotions that we have as human beings, you know what I'm saying? As like, because we don't, you don't get anger for no reason, you don't get sadness for no reason, happy for no reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, these, like, when you're mad, you know what I'm saying, or sad, it's telling you like, oh, something needs to be changed. You don't need to be, I could need to be controlled by this anger, but this anger is letting me know something is not right, you know what I'm saying? You listen, you get, man, I think that sometimes it's like, for me, I would say like, yo, it's smarter than me, because like it knows like, yo, I don't get controlled by it, but I know that something needs to be done to change it. You know what I'm saying? And like all of it, my brother, like, yo, it is what it is. So like, mhm.
Now, I was just gonna say that I understand what you're saying. You're talking about making it a focal point, meaning it's something that you can use to center you on something. It doesn't necessarily control you, but it centers you. And when we talk about anger, I think the best person we can use as an example of what modern anger can do for you, strength wise, is Iron Mike Tyson in his prime. That is a man still to this day who is full of demons that we couldn't fathom. And let's just say I damn sure would not want to I wouldn't want to run afoul of that man. I would not.
Yeah, definitely, like Black Trunk Tyson, you know what I'm saying? Before Robin Givens, but that's a whole nother story though. But that's what I'm saying. This is how, like, we aren't those kind of, we always be like, yo, well, like, love, we know that we love everybody, we know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, now it's time to love ourselves enough to like like, not our safety, our you know what I'm saying, our ability to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves out is more important. We loved everybody, and it didn't, look where we at now, you know what I'm saying? Look how it worked out. It's time, like, and I think that we loved others more than we have ever loved ourselves, because even amongst each other, like, we got along, we fought, but when others came along, we always said, yo, come on to the cookout, or come on to do whatever we was doing before the cookout. And hopefully we'll stop doing that, you know what I'm saying? But but that's not to get it dragged out though, my brother. You got any last words though?
Oh man, just I put the promotes back out there. Just check me out on Instagram, Black Family Vanguard. Definitely, if I rock with you though, you will get an invite to follow on my personal page, and I'll definitely follow you back. Um, Support those who are doing the work, even if you don't wholeheartedly agree with what they're doing, but you know that they're taking a genuine stance. Support them, and what they're doing. Support forecast for what he's doing, because you're not just here for nothing. Obviously, you find this to be a constructive moment of your day, that you're going to get some kind of knowledge and information that you're going to be able to use to better you. So if you're just coming here to be entertained, which is why I don't like. There's one thing that Jason Black said that I could definitely vibe with. Stop calling these things shows. A show is something for entertainment. These are
Yeah, it's
programs.
not a show. Right. I'll be like
Yeah,
live. It's not like I'll be like, don't say show.
yeah, exactly. These are programs, and we should be using this stuff to program ourselves. Also, speaking of programming, when I went down to Georgia for the Liberated Minds Expo, I ran into a lot of powerful people there. If you're looking for programming to give to your children, then you can go to BES. That's I believe it's BES.com, which is the Black Education Station. You can, if you forget all of that, you could just go again to the Black Family Vanguard, scroll down a little bit to the July post, and you'll see that video and information that I put up there. Like, just if we're gonna get free, man, like I said, I blame the enemy for getting us in the condition that we are in, but I blame us for not getting ourselves up out of it. Granted, there are still all types of barriers and obstacles that we have to uplift off of us for us to move forward. Those things were put there by our enemies, but we have to start believing in each other. We have to stop supporting these charlatans who are just out here, fleecing the people of everything, of spirit, mind, character, economics, for their own benefits. These leeches have done enough harm to us. If we're going to get ourselves free, then we need to do it. I don't know if this long-term strategic plan is the answer. It's something that I'm looking at. It's a plan that I've never seen before, and I want to be able to share that with others. The elders who created the plan, they want you to read it, and they want you to respond back so that they can make additions, amendments, what it is that needs to be done. But it has to be sensible stuff. That you can't be, oh, why are you calling it for Black America? We're not Black Americans. I'm indigenous. Look here, then this obviously is not the plan for you. It's just not. But if you want to move towards sovereignty, you better get with somebody who's doing that. And if you're just talking about not joining, then start your own. You better do something though. You better organize, as oh man, I don't, Kwame Ture, as Kwame Ture has told us, organize, organize, organize. Problem is, too many people are just going to find themselves organizing by themselves, and it's not to knock you for wanting to organize yourself, but when you're a person alone on an island, how much momentum are you going to have fighting against that current that comes to wipe you out? um Support, again, on the Wake Up Radio. I'm managing that. It's something that's new to me, definitely. So right now I just play music on there
Hey,
on the weekends.
when you going on there again?
When I haven't done it a live on there, I do all the lives on Instagram for now. I can do a live on there, but it's the best way I could say it is the listening base is not there. And though I can record my program and everything, and I could just put it in the program shuffle to where it plays later on, I don't feel the need to do something if I'm just talking to myself.
Hey,
You know.
can you see how many people listening on there?
Yeah, I can see how many people are listening on there. I manage the site.
Right, right.
I manage the site. So when I say that we're looking to sell airtime to people, me myself personally, I'm gonna put on there, just YouTube stuff of different people's podcasts who I find are putting together good pieces of information, and I want to just record it while it's playing so that I can take out whatever commercials might be put up in there and stuff like that. That way there I could just have an endless stream of different programs playing. That way that people can get something that's going to teach them, to get them to think. And then when that base is there, that listening base is there, then it's definitely going to be about, putting my own voice on there. But for now, I'm selling airspace. So if anybody wants to have their own free speech, uncensored airtime, just hit me up on Instagram. I will definitely work out the details with you, and if you're satisfied with those, um, then let's work. You own it. This is the answer to not having to come to a YouTube where, yes, you're gonna get the listening base fast, but you have to drink that compliance juice as we talked about earlier. So you're not going to be able to be genuine and authentic. You can't say whatever you want for fear that they're going to pull your platform and your station down. Case in point, the sister had on a brother who had thousands of followers, but he said he wanted to get into the millions, so he went to YouTube, and he was on YouTube successfully for about 3 years. Then he did something that went against community guidelines. They took the platform, no, I'm sorry, they took the channel down, and he lost all 1,000 something of the videos that he had done. Now, what people don't realize is that in a lot of these end user license agreements, EULA, EULA, built into it is these people telling you that when you're using my platform or whatever to create content, I can use this content however I please. I own this content. Hell, I just updated my PlayStation 4 for the first time in a couple of months, and I had to sign a new EULA. And in that EULA, I'm reading through it because I'm one of those type of people who read through it. And I actually put this up on Instagram. Like, even the PlayStation Network is doing this. So these people are going to capture that content. They're going to use that data, as MG2 talked about, and they're going to make money off of it. They're getting money off of everything that we do. So why are we going to their platforms for anything? We need to be supporting each other in every which way possible. So that's all I got to say, brother.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that's the thing. This is their stuff, like, and all the videos, like the videos actually, not the lives that I have been on, but the videos, I got all of them because I expect that. But only problem I be having is like when I try to put them on other places, it'd be like, oh, it's too large and stuff like that. So either I got to figure out a way to make them smaller, or they got to figure out a way to allow more stuff on there.
But guess what? YouTube started off with small servers as well before they got more and more people on there. It's the same thing with and I'm not just talking about on the Wake Up Radio. If you want somebody who could literally put you up on the air so you can talk and you constantly be on 24/7, you can go over to WSYP 95.1 Sankofa Radio and talk to brother Anthony Muhammad. $250 is his charge to put your radio to put you on the radio live on an FM channel. Brother Forecast can tell you it's legit. It's not something that's fake. We have the tools and we're doing it, but we're not supporting each other.
Yeah, it's true. And and that's the thing, like, and that's what I was gonna say too, like, even with that, on the radio thing, because I try to tune into that when I be at work sometimes, like even when I be catching, because I ain't see the last one the IG you was just saying that, but with the radio, it is important, what I'm saying, that we support, what I'm saying, these channels and stuff like that, and that's I ain't gonna go because I need to get up off of here. But I would just want to say this though, like, even if you're talking to nobody on the radio, what I'm saying, like, I still think in recording it and putting it out there, because eventually you're gonna reach somebody. You keep going long enough, even if everybody stopped listening to me now, I probably still be making the same stuff that I make and saying the same stuff. Like, if nobody showed up, what I'm saying, I probably just might be cussing a little bit more, but no, I'm joking. But now I think it's important to keep your stuff like, you know what I'm saying, to, and then record it, because like with YouTube, they like people will share my stuff. That's why even when they say that, they do it on purpose. But yeah, what do you expect? You know what I'm saying? That's what they're supposed to do. And that's why they put restrictions and everything and on my channel and stuff like that. But yeah, I expect that, you know what I'm saying? It's no different, but all of that stuff. But that's why all of the videos that I make, I still like just have them, you know what I'm saying? Like from the very first ones when I used to make the old ones to like the Black history lessons, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to be able to put them up, you know what I'm saying? But I got to figure out a way to make them smaller so I can put them up on these certain sites, you know what I'm saying? But
Hey, I gave you the key. I gave you the key to
what
doing that.
what's that?
Keep these things short, man.
Not
Cause
what
it,
I can't.
cause, cause here we are, three hours in.
I mean, like even with the Black History, they be like 45 minutes though. You know what I'm saying? I can't upload
Ah,
everything for that. Like these lives, I don't really, they just lives where it's just lessons and stuff. But the videos, I mean, all the videos that I made that I uploaded, not the lives,
yeah, we
But
we we could definitely talk about that offline because I could tell you what it is, and I know for our so there's two parts to On the Wake Up Radio. For the live streaming, you go to onthewakeupradio.com, but for the actual video site, if you just want to have your own channel on there or I'm sorry, your own account where you just upload your videos to, then you go to otwtube.com and you can create a free account there and you can upload your stuff. The limit I believe is 1.5 gigabytes, which roughly comes almost around to, depending on how you structure the information and how many videos you put into it, that's what causes the data size to go up. But it can roughly take up to about 2 hours, if not a little bit more. It just depends on if it's just voice or if it's voice and video.
yeah, definitely. I be showing videos because like, y'all don't believe me, but I appreciate you coming on, my brother. Shouts out to MD2 for coming on. Shouts out to Melanated Goddess. She was in the building. That's what's up. Highly favored. We've been listening the whole time. Shouts out to her. I'm sorry, for taking it so long. But shouts out to Shanique. She's been here since almost the beginning. Raw. Shouts out to Raw. If she's still in the building, she probably is.
Yeah, can I give a shout out to Sister Highly Favored as well? Because I'm gonna be putting on OTW Tube the everything starting from the jewelry selection up to where the case is now with the Othal Wallace case, which is currently going on. You can go to Y2 Kenyon on YouTube right here, and you can subscribe to that brother because he's in the courthouse, so he's recording everything and he's uploading it, so people can watch to see how things are going. But I'm gonna upload that on there. But I just know that Sister Highly Favored also supports that this movement to get this brother free. So I just want to give a shout out to that sister for that.
Yeah, definitely. Shit, shouts out Highly Favored she be on it, she be supporting. And this was really meant to be like an hour and a half almost, but shouts out to everybody, my brother Bakari, MG2, Erica, y'all subscribe to Considra channel. She's the truth. I rock with Considra, another sister trying to do something. I don't know. Oh yeah, Matron, y'all support Matron, Koku, all of them, but I'm gonna let Barbara Sizemore have the last words, y'all. She can say it better than we can.
Alton's been in this struggle, and I'm very concerned about how we're progressing in it. So I thought a lot about it, sisters and brothers, and titled what I want to share with you tonight called Black people still don't get it.
All right, now, facts. But thank y'all, man. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.